Chapter 2093. Xiao Yuelon is giggling non-stop. Qin Yun doesn't know what she is laughing about. Yuelon, what is so funny about this? From now on, this ice mother tiger will not bite me anymore. Qin Yun said. That's where you are wrong. Sister Rujing has now become an infatuated melancholic beauty, suffering from lovesickness and drowning her sorrows in wine all day long. She is the ice and snow goddess, also known as wine god. Xiao Yuelon said with smile. Qin Yun is startled. He suddenly feels bad for Xian Rujing, she has become like this. Yuelon, is she still the ice and snow goddess? Qin Yun asked. She is a very famous goddess in Myriad Realms' divine palace. In short, those with god position have more or less recovered. Xiao Yuelon said with smile. Yu Qing Heavenly Dragon God, Little Moon Dragon God, Father Fire Dragon God, your sister Shu Yen Killing God, and my most beloved sister Star God, all have returned. This is contrary to Qin Yun's expectation. He thought that the god position would be reshuffled. He did not expect there to be no change. What about Sister Kiru? She is Moon God. Qin Yun asked again. She did not go to Myriad Realms' divine palace. She has her own things to do. Of course, if she reports to Myriad Realms' divine palace, she will be able to return to her position. Xiao Yuelon paused and then said again. Oh, that's right, there is also Foster Father Underworld God, Ba Xie the Sword God, they will all report to their positions. Qin Yun immediately took out his Divine King Heavenly Seal and said with frown, I am Sun God, the King of Gods. Can I return to my position? Xiao Yun, you must not go. Sister Kiru said that any god can return to their position, but you can't. Because Sun God's position is very special, it is currently vacant because there is no good candidate. Xiao Yuelon said. Why can't I return? Who built Myriad Realms' divine palace? Qin Yun asked. The formation of Myriad Realms' divine palace is very complicated. In short, Divine Yang World took the lead, then our Divine Moon World, Nine Nether Realm, Heaven Creation Divine Palace, Heavenly Law Divine Domain, Primal Chaos Realm and many other great worlds cooperated to build it. Xiao Yuelon warned. Xiao Yun, your Divine King Heavenly Seal is very important, you must take good care of it. All right, since Sister Kiru said that I can't return, I won't think about this matter anymore. You are all living very well, I am relieved. Qin Yun stored away the Divine King Heavenly Seal. Xiao Yun, you have to hide well. If you don't have enough power, don't be too ostentatious. There are crouching tigers and hidden dragons in the Heavenly God Desolate. Even our Divine Moon World has to be very cautious. Xiao Yuelon said. I know, the Divine Desolate has become so big, moreover, there are Myriad Realms' Divine Sun, there must be many experts gathered here. Qin Yun naturally knows. You have 9 altars in your hands, don't expose them unless necessary. Xiao Yuelon warned again. Qin Yun looked around and said, Yuelon, how can I see you? Is there any way to teleport me to a place with people? There's no other way. In the divine court of the myriad worlds, there is no longer a god position of space and god position of time. This is to prevent these two gods from using these two powers, which is against the laws of nature. Also, space and time runes will be classified as taboo runes. They are not allowed to be used in public. Only the myriad realms' divine court can use them. Xiao Yuelon warned in a grave tone because Qin Yun has mastered this kind of taboo rune. Qin Yun thought of the space god and said with a sigh, Space god, this old brother, I wonder how he is doing. Xiao Yuelon said, Xiao Yun, if you want to come to the Divine Moon World, you might need to fly for several decades. Only by taking the shuttle ship of the Myriad Realms' Divine Court will you be able to arrive faster. Several decades? Qin Yun is startled, this is too far away. That's right, even if you want to go to the Myriad Realms' Divine Court, it will still take you 10 to 20 years. Xiao Yuelon said, The area you are in is a newly opened area of the Divine Desolate. There are no living beings in this kind of place. You will need to fly for about half a year and you should be able to see a mountain forest. Qin Yun sighed. He can only accept the reality. It seems that if he wants to go to the center of the divine desolate, it will still take a very long time. Yuelon, are the Heavenly Lion King and the rest all right? Qin Yun asked. The Heavenly Lion King is already safe. He is guarding the door of the Myriad Realms' divine court. Xiao Yuelon said with a smile. This guy volunteered to guard the door. Qin Yun feels that the Heavenly Lion King must have some other purpose for going to the Myriad Realms' divine court to guard the door. What about the Love Goddess? Have you heard of her? Is she still a divine king? When Qin Yun asked about the Love Goddess, his voice became much colder. She is his enemy. Divine king? Now, whoever dares to call themselves divine king is courting death. She doesn't dare. She should just obediently return to being her love goddess. Xiao Yuelon also knows that the love goddess betrayed Qin Yun, so she also hates the love goddess very much. She snorted and said, I will kill her sooner or later. Qin Yun said in deep voice, She is a heavenly mother and her position in the heavenly law divine realm is extremely high. She is not easy to deal with, we must be cautious. Yes, even in the Myriad Realms' divine court, her position is extremely high. She is very popular. This hypocritical woman, she won't live for long. Xiao Yuelon groaned and said, Yuelon, if you want to leave the divine moon world, then arrange for someone to contact me. This way, I can understand the situation from time to time through you and familiarize myself with the divine desolate. Qin Yun said. Then I'll let Shueru or Little Phoenix contact you. You are very familiar with most of the girls in the Guang Han Palace anyway, Xiao Yuelon said with mischievous smile. It can be seen that Little Phoenix and Nangong Shueru have been taken advantage of by her. I will become stronger as soon as possible and then go find you, Qin Yun said with smile. And come quickly, we all miss you very much, Xiao Yuelon said. Xiao Yun, this is a new great era, it is a new beginning for us. Qin Yun missed 100 years, so he will temporarily fall behind in all aspects. Fortunately, he is used to this kind of thing. Soon after, Qin Yun and Xiao Yuelon chatted about many things. Xiao Yuelon met her mother Su Qing and Qin Yun's mother Qin. Speaking of this matter, Qin Yun suddenly recalled the Heavenly Law pawnshop. Every 100 years, Heavenly Law pawnshop can pawn things and exchange them for things they need or need. He feels that he can make good use of the Heavenly Law pawnshop to help him leave this damned place even faster. He doesn't want to spend another year and a half on the road. He will die of boredom. After Qin Yun and Xiao Yuelon cut off contact, he took back Yang Yang and the other group of cute little things into the Nine Sun Divine Soul. He took out the Divine King Heavenly Seal and began summoning the Heavenly Law pawnshop's shopkeeper. Not long after, a white cloud floated over and an old man with a beard that is like a fluttering white cloud appeared. This old man has a head full of white hair that looks like fluttering white cloud. After he saw Qin Yun, he said in shock, Ioyo, isn't this Lord Palace King? Yun Long, are you looking down on me? Qin Yun curled his lips and said, I just arrived at Divine Desolate, I am indeed very weak, but this is only temporary. Lord Palace King, you also know about Divine Desolate? It seems like you know quite a bit. Yun Long said with smile. I know a lot of things. Qin Yun groaned. What are you calling me Lord Palace King? I feel like you are mocking me. Yun Long chuckled and said, No, you are after all an influential person. It is said that you have 9 sun altars in your hands. Just this point, your future is limitless. Do you want to pawn the altar now? Don't even think about my altar, Qin Yun said with smile. Alright, then what do you want to pawn? Yun Long said with sinister smile. Although the Heavenly Tao is in Nirvana and Divine Sun has appeared, this Heavenly Law pawnshop's business is getting better and better. I suddenly feel that the Heavenly Law pawnshop is like a black market. Qin Yun said. We are doing business openly and above board. Yun Long said. Qin Yun thought about it. What he needs the most right now is to increase his strength, but the Heavenly Law pawnshop will definitely not be able to help him. Qin Yun doesn't know what to exchange for a once-in-a-hundred-years pawn. Yun Long, are the 8-9 Sun sects still around? Qin Yun suddenly asked. They are, and they are all very strong sects. Yun Long nodded and said. Then did my divine inscription mountain come to divine desolate? Qin Yun asked again. It came, the divine universe ice dragon is also here. Yun Long said with smile. Lord Palace King, seeing that we are friends, I told you so many things. After knowing that the divine inscription mountain had arrived, Qin Yun felt a lot more at ease. He said with a smile, Yun Long, where do you think I should go to develop now? You are only a divine man, but with your strength, dealing with profound God shouldn't be a problem. But facing great God, you can only flee, so it would be better for you to go to the area where divine man and profound God are. Yun Long also gave Qin Yun a suggestion. Divine man, profound God, great God, these are the first 3 realms of cultivation. Qin Yun is currently only a divine man, and he has just arrived at divine desolate, but his strength is comparable to profound God. This is Yun Long's judgment. Alright, immediately send me to the area with more profound God and great God. Qin Yun said, How many divine universe golden stones do you need? Well, 20. Yun Long said. So many? Why don't you go rob them? Qin Yun snorted. Quite a few. Yun Long laughed. Then forget it. Tell me, the closest place with people gathering, I'll go myself. Although Qin Yun did not lack those 20 divine universe golden stones, he could not spend them carelessly. 1 divine universe golden stone consultation fee. Yun Long chuckled. Qin Yun rolled his eyes at him, and could only take out a divine universe golden stone. Yun Long told Qin Yun that the desert was in the southernmost region of the gods desolate. If he flew west for about half a year, he would reach the region where the divine court of the myriad worlds passed by. In that region, there was a divine position god overseeing it. As for what kind of god it was, Yun Long was not too sure. He only knew that the one in charge of that place was at most a great god. Although the little black donkey always called itself the Black Tortoise Great God, the Great God was nothing in the divine desolate. After Qin Yun bade farewell to Yun Long, he took out the heaven-leaping shuttle and released the little queen ant. He let the little queen ant absorb 10 divine universe golden stones, so that the heaven-leaping shuttle would have enough power to travel through space. This way, he wouldn't have to waste a pawn opportunity and wouldn't have to let Yun Long cheat 20 divine universe golden stones. Qin Yun finally arrived at the area that Yun Long had mentioned. Chapter 2094. Qin Yun looked at the myriad realms' divine sun in the sky and felt the powerful divine power. Then, he absorbed the divine power through the 9 yang divine vein. The divine power of the divine desolate is much stronger than before. This can make living beings stronger even faster. When Qin Yun was still the king of gods, even though he was very close to the 9 suns, the divine power he absorbed was only this much. Now, just a single myriad realms divine sun has this kind of divine power. Soon, all kinds of living beings in the divine desolate will be very powerful. Even the flowers, plants and trees in the great desolate will become very strong because of this. The mountain range in front of him was filled with lush green trees that exuded vitality. The mountains pierced through the clouds and the trees on the mountains were shrouded in beautiful mist. This mountain range had just recovered. The trees were greedily absorbing the energy of heaven and earth and then releasing a fragrant and lively aura. Qin Yun was previously lifeless in the desert, but after coming to this mountain forest, he immediately felt that it was very different. He felt much more energetic. However, this mountain forest was actually called 8 Evil Mountain Range. This was what Xiao Yuelon had told him before. 8 Evil Mountain Range was a relatively remote freshman area in the Divine Desolate. After many heavenly regions joined in, those heavenly regions with dense evil aura were merged into this place and transformed to purify most of the evil aura. Therefore, when Qin Yun came to 8 Evil Mountain Range, he didn't feel the slightest bit of evil aura. Since this 8 Evil Mountain Range is a combination of many evil heavenly regions, it must be very big. Although Qin Yun entered the 8 Evil Mountain Range, he didn't know where to find people. Xiao Yuelan said that the fact that there was a divine position god in charge of the 8 Evil Mountain Range meant that the Myriad Realms Divine Court attached great importance to this place and would send ships over from time to time. The Myriad Realms Divine Court's ship could travel through space. If Qin Yun wanted to quickly go to the strongest area of the Divine Desolate, he could only use the Myriad Realms Divine Court's ship. Therefore, he came to the 8 Evil Mountain Range to cultivate and raise his cultivation. He also wanted to wait for the Myriad Realms Divine Court's ship and also understand the movements of the Divine Desolate. Although the Divine Desolate was a new beginning, Qin Yun's enemies were still there, so he had to be cautious. The Natural Law Divine Realms Heavenly Mother Moai and the 8-9 Sons Sex were all his great enemies, and there was also the mysterious Primal Chaos race. If there was a Primal Chaos realm in the Divine Wilderness, it meant that the mysterious Primal Chaos race would gradually surface. The Primal Chaos race was extremely powerful. In the future, it was very likely that they would dominate the entire God-desolate heavens. After entering the 8 Evil Ridge, Qin Yun did not know where to go. He could only land on the top of a mountain. As night fell, the beautiful and gigantic all-heavens divine moon slowly rose into the sky. The myriad worlds and heavens were enveloped by the gentle and beautiful moonlight. Even at night, the myriad worlds and heavens seemed extremely bright. Qin Yun took out a beast skin array. It was used to communicate with the Moon Palace. After some effort, he finally got in touch with the Moon Palace. "Big Brother Yun." Little Phoenix's voice could be heard. From her voice, one could tell that she was very happy and excited. "Little Phoenix, long time no see," Qin Yun said with smile. Little Phoenix was originally Nangong Shueru's maid. Later on, with Qin Yun's help, she was able to enter the Guang Han Palace and has been accompanying Nangong Shueru ever since. "Big Sister Yuelan told me that you need help," Little Phoenix hastily said. "Big Brother Yun, what problem do you have now?" Little Phoenix admires Qin Yun very much. She has been cultivating very hard, wanting to become stronger and help Qin Yun in the future. "Don't worry, I don't have any problem right now," Qin Yun said with smile. He remembers that Little Phoenix is a very warm-hearted and pure girl. She is also very hard-working. "That's good." Big Sister Yuelan said that you have been delayed for more than 100 years to come to God Desolate. Your current cultivation is very low, there is no protection in God Desolate, it is very dangerous. Little Phoenix is still very worried about Qin Yun. "Little Phoenix, I am at the 8 Evil Ridge. The 8 Evil Ridge is too big, I might not even be able to fly for a year and a half. Do you have a way to help me find a place where there is a boat?" Qin Yun asked. "Sure, I will tell you the location." Little Phoenix smiled and then immediately told Qin Yun many things about the 8 Evil Ridge. There are several forces in the 8 Evil Ridge. On the surface, these forces are supported by the Myriad Worlds Divine Court. Their main purpose is to help the evil forces in the 8 Evil Ridge to turn over a new leaf, or to suppress the development of evil forces in the 8 Evil Ridge. In God Desolate, there are many such places where evil forces gather. The Myriad Worlds Divine Court will send God thrones to manage these places to prevent these evil forces from doing anything out of line. In the 8 Evil Ridge, there is a heavenly evil cult whose leader is a God throne. As for what kind of god it is, the Myriad Worlds Divine Court did not announce it. They only said that the god is from the Myriad Worlds Divine Court and is very powerful. The reason why they did not announce it is to maintain a sense of mystery and make people fear the power of the god. According to Little Phoenix, in the 8 Evil Ridge, only the heavenly evil cult is doing serious things, helping the evil forces to turn over a new leaf. The other forces took advantage of the convenience given by the divine court of the myriad realms and did not do anything serious. They continued to develop their evil forces. Heavenly evil cult? Just the name alone doesn't sound like a good thing. Qin Yun shook his head and smiled. The leader of the heavenly evil cult is quite capable. I heard that he is the only positive force in the 8 Evil Ridge. He chose the name Heavenly Evil Cult mainly to blend into the environment of the 8 Evil Ridge. Little Phoenix said. How strong is the leader of the Heavenly Evil Cult? Qin Yun asked. I don't know, no one knows. The Myriad World's Divine Court said that the gods they sent are very powerful, so the other evil forces don't dare to do anything to the Heavenly Evil Cult. Little Phoenix said. Qin Yun looked around and smiled. The environment of the 8 Evil Ridge is not bad, but it is still a very remote place. A god throne is far away from the Myriad World's Divine Court and is sent to such a remote place. I'm 80% sure he is not a powerful guy. Qin Yun could see through this kind of thing at a glance. He felt that the god throne must be very unreliable, so the Myriad World's Divine Court packaged him in a mysterious way to deter other evil forces. Maybe, Little Phoenix said. Brother Xiao Yun, just go to the Heavenly Evil District and wait for the ship. The ship of the Myriad World's Divine Court usually comes once every 2 to 3 years. Just wait patiently. 2 to 3 years is nothing to Qin Yun. He nodded and said, Little Phoenix, I'll contact you if I have any questions. Alright, goodbye Brother Xiao Yun. Little Phoenix said happily. Qin Yun put away the beast skin formation and looked at the stars in the sky. Little Phoenix's guidance was mainly based on the stars and constellations in the sky. After Qin Yun determined the direction from the stars in the sky, he immediately flew to the Heavenly Evil District. He was only a true god now, but even if he faced a profound god whose cultivation was much higher than his strength was definitely not weak. The Heavenly Evil District was close to the north of the 8 Evil Ridge, but it was also close to the center of the 8 Evil Ridge. Because it was under the jurisdiction of the gods sent by the Myriad World's Divine Court, the divine ships of the Myriad World's Divine Court would stop there. Qin Yun flew for a few days before arriving at the Heavenly Evil District. The Heavenly Evil District was more prosperous than he had imagined. Moreover, it was very orderly. Although the entire area was very large, the various buildings were neatly planned and built very beautifully. Looking down from the sky, it was very beautiful. Just looking at it made one feel very comfortable. The Heavenly Evil District was very large, with a length and width of 1,000 miles. It was surrounded by huge divine mountains and used the divine mountains as pillars to set up formations. In the sky above the Heavenly Evil District, there were many stars of all sizes floating, setting up the Star Luo Divine Formation to protect the entire Heavenly Evil District. It could be seen that the Myriad World's Divine Court attached great importance to this Heavenly Evil District and had put in a lot of effort to build it. It's not as bad as I thought. Qin Yun only looked from the sky. He was unable to fly to the sky above the Heavenly Evil District. He landed at a low altitude and flew above the forest, heading towards the entrance of the Heavenly Evil District. At the entrance area, there were many people queuing up. The people in line all had the aura of evil spirits on them. Most of these people who cultivated the evil devil Dao had no choice but to come here to change. They also knew that cultivating the evil devil Dao was not a long-term solution. Qin Yun has traveled to many heavenly regions and knows that because the evil devil energy is too heavy, they were born tainted with that kind of evil power. It seems like this Myriad World's Divine Court really has some ideas. Qin Yun saw many people queuing up to enter the Heavenly Evil District and secretly nodded his head. He also went to queue up. He wanted to quickly enter the heavenly evil district and catch the next big ship. The God Desolate is too vast. If he wanted to cross the Great Desolate and go to another region, it would take a very long time. Moreover, he would encounter many dangers on the way. To enter the heavenly evil district, one must sign a soul contract. Inside the city, one must abide by the rules and not cause trouble everywhere. Otherwise, one will suffer a backlash from the soul contract. Their soul will be in great pain and might even fly away and scatter. If there was anything, one would have to leave the heavenly evil district to solve it. When Qin Yun entered, he was checked. If the evil devil power on his body is too heavy, then other arrangements will be made. If one doesn't have evil devil power, it would be very easy to enter. When Qin Yun was queuing up, he saw many people receiving cultivation techniques and some pills. Those pills are not free. After receiving them and entering the heavenly evil district, one has to repay them by doing things. The heavenly evil spirit sect often arranged for people to go out and do some hard work. Qin Yun smoothly entered the heavenly evil district. After entering, he was able to absorb more divine power. This is mainly because of the great formation inside the city. This city is a place to turn over a new leaf and become a new person. I feel strange coming to this place. Qin Yun shook his head and smiled. Xiao Yun, it's the same as starting over, Ling Yun said with a smile. Chapter 2095. Most of the God-tier materials in Qin Yun's hands have been used up and he has nothing left to sell. Only the Divine Universe golden stones and many other scary things can be sold. But even if he sells the Divine Universe golden stones, no one can afford them. The only thing he could sell was to make some divine talismans or divine artifact. But this way it will be too ostentatious. After all, he is still a newbie who has just entered the Divine Desolate. He doesn't have enough understanding of the Divine Desolate, so he doesn't dare to be too high profile. Qin Yun was once the Nine-Yang Palace King, the King of Gods. Now that he has returned to the Divine Desolate, he can start from the beginning. To him, it is just cultivation. It can temper his mental state and let him have a better understanding of the Divine Desolate. In the center of the heavenly evil district, there is a large and elegant building, surrounding a manor with a lake and river. There were a few mountains in the center, and one of the mountains had a spectacular waterfall flowing down. When approaching the center, the vast manor makes people yearn for it. Especially the waterfall, it looks like it is a divine spring that is drawn from the ground to the top of the mountain and then poured down, causing the divine spring to emit water vapor. The peaks of the mountains are filled with spiritual mist. From time to time, many huge divine cranes would fly over the waterfall, passing through the dense divine power mist. Qin Yun stood outside the walls of the manor and observed the mountains. He discovered that these mountains are not ordinary mountains, they have been specially refined. There are many golden runes on the surface of the mountains, and the trees on the mountains have vines that hang down, naturally forming the runes. Others might not be able to discover the wonders of these mountains, but Qin Yun can tell with a glance that this is a formation created by an expert imitating nature. Although they are man-made mountains, they are no different from naturally formed mountains after being arranged ingeniously. They can connect to the divine desolate land and absorb the divine sun energy of the myriad world. There are quite a few experts in the myriad world's divine court. Qin Yun inwardly praised those mountains. That formation can be said to be the core of the entire heavenly evil district's great formation. The energy it condenses has a kind of heart-clearing power that can suppress evil thoughts. The heavenly evil spirit sect is not evil at all. Following the wall, Qin Yun came to the entrance and saw many people queuing up to join the heavenly fiend god sect. After joining the heavenly evil sect, not only would they be able to turn over a new leaf, their cultivation would also soar. Qin Yun observed from the entrance. Those who wanted to join the Heavenly Evil God sect had to answer honestly about the evil deeds they've done in the past. Those who had committed serious crimes would be imprisoned for a period of time, at least 1,000 years, at most 10,000 years. Not to mention, he was going to be shackled by soul shackles. The so-called soul shackles was an even stronger soul contract that forbade one from doing evil again. Otherwise, one's soul would scatter. The myriad world's divine court is really smart to use this method to tame the demons. Qin Yun also queued up. Since he didn't have any nefarious aura on him, he could pass the interview and be assigned to the Heavenly Evil sect as a disciple. He was different from other demons. He didn't need to be shackled by soul shackles. Also, he said that he was good at growing medicinal herbs and received very good treatment. This place was very lacking in people who could grow medicinal herbs. The 8 Evil Ridge was a new area with many demons. It was dangerous to go out, and the future was bleak if one stayed here. Those who knew how to grow medicinal herbs rarely came to this place. Most of them would go to better places to develop. After joining the Heavenly Evil sect, Qin Yun planned to grow medicinal herbs and cultivate his mind. He would wait for the myriad world's divine court's ship to arrive and see if he could break through as soon as possible. The Heavenly Evil sect's herb garden had a few hundred acres. This herb garden was already abandoned, and it was next to the mountain with the waterfall. There were many dying medicinal herbs in the herb garden. When Qin Yun was brought here, the supervisor told Qin Yun many things about the herb garden. Little Qin, if you grow it well, the higher-ups will not mistreat you. Life here will be very boring, so I hope you can bear with it. Supervisor Wang patted Qin Yun's shoulder and smiled. The sect leader attaches great importance to this herb garden, but he couldn't find anyone to take care of it. Supervisor Wang, I've just become a deity. I'm not even in the initial stage. It'll be difficult for me to grow it, Qin Yun said. Little Qin, don't worry. If you can grow good medicinal herbs, the sect leader and the elders will reward you. At that time, you will surely soar to great heights. Supervisor Wang said. Let me tell you some good news. After a period of time, the myriad world's divine court will send a few people to help take care of the herb garden. They are all experts from the divine court. This is your opportunity. Qin Yun is secretly startled. The myriad world's divine court actually sent people to plant medicinal herbs here. He carefully observed the herb garden again. Although it is filled with half-dead medicinal herbs, the divine power here is very dense, so it shouldn't be like this. Supervisor Wang, when can I see the sect leader? Qin Yun wants to see which god will come to oversee this place. Don't worry, you will be able to see the sect leader. Supervisor Wang patted Qin Yun's shoulder, then exhorted a few things and left. After leaving the herb garden, Supervisor Wang shook his head and said with sneer, "A small character wants to see the sect leader? This daddy has never seen the sect leader. In a few days, the people from the myriad world's divine court will come. If I can't find someone to guard the herb garden, they will say that I am neglecting my duty." With Qin Yun in charge of guarding the herb garden, Supervisor Wang happily left. Supervisor Wang is a late-stage true god. He is not a very powerful person. Therefore, he has to be humble when facing the people from the divine court. Inside the herb garden, Qin Yun walked inside the herb garden, looked at the medicinal herbs and shook his head. What kind of people are these? Even a good seedling would be planted like this. His heart ached when he saw this. As the Nine-Yang Palace King, the former king of gods, although he is not very proficient in alchemy, he is still very familiar with the basic. He just didn't put much effort into alchemy. The Tao of alchemy can be said to be difficult, but it is also not easy. Just like Inscription Master, it consumes a lot of materials. It requires a lot of materials to practice in order to enter the Tao. Too much water. Qin Yun immediately knew the problem with one look. There is a big waterfall nearby. The person who looked after the herb garden must have thought that there is too much divine spring, so he watered it with all his might. Qin Yun looked around and found no one nearby. This place is also a relatively remote area of the manor. Usually, no one comes here, mainly because the waterfall is too noisy. Also, the herbs here can't grow, so some people say that the death energy here is too heavy, so they don't want people to come near. No one is nearby. Qin Yun began drawing 10 lines. In an instant, he drew a simple water drawing rune and guided the water from the waterfall over. Before, it was overwatered, but after being abandoned for many days, it also needs to be irrigated. In order to let the medicinal herbs better absorb the energy of the divine spring, Qin Yun also drew several groups of runes in a few areas of the herb garden and imprinted them on the soil. To him, this is a very easy matter. After all, he is an inscription do master. He can draw runes by releasing the power of his blood spirit. It is very convenient for inscription masters to do anything, otherwise they would not have the title of inscription pill master. After Qin Yun finished doing all this, he cleaned a small house and waited inside for the night. At night, he watered it again and then drew patterns on the soil to let the medicinal herbs absorb the power of the divine moon. In the blink of an eye, Qin Yun cultivated for a few days. This kind of quiet life was very suitable for his cultivation. He, who had just entered the divine desolate land, had missed 100 years of time. His heart was originally very restless and even a little anxious. After a few days of meditation with his eyes closed, he finally adjusted his mentality. I, the king of the gods, will definitely rise up in this great desolate land. Heavenly law, divine realm, god of love. Just you wait. Qin Yun walked out of the hut and saw the lush green medicinal field outside. His mood immediately became incomparably comfortable. In just a few days, those medicinal seedlings had been reborn and were growing extremely well. However, this morning, other people came to the medicinal field. Qin Yun stood in front of the wooden hut and saw 3 beautiful men and women dressed in luxurious brocade robes or dresses walking over. Supervisor Wang was very respectful in front of them. His face was full of smiles and he didn't even straighten his back. He kept bowing as he followed beside them. With a glance, it was obvious that the 3 youths were sent by the Myriad Realm's divine court. Supervisor Wang, didn't you say that the medicinal seedlings here have withered badly? The rather beautiful woman in the red dress came in from the door and said with a frown when she saw the medicinal seedlings in the medicinal field. This is also called withering? A white-robed youth said coldly, Supervisor Wang, how long has it been since you last came to this medicinal field? I just haven't been here for a few days. Supervisor Wang looked at Qin Yun outside the hut and was extremely shocked. He never expected that this fellow called Little Qin would be able to revive the medicinal seedlings in this medicinal field in just a few days. And he immediately thought that this was definitely a coincidence. Qin Yun was dressed in simple gray clothes. His handsome face was well-defined and filled with masculinity. He had a faint smile on his face and a pair of bright eyes that were very gentle. With a glance, it could be seen that he was an extremely easygoing person. Little Qin, what's going on? Supervisor Wang hurriedly came to Qin Yun's side and asked in a low voice. I watered it with some water and then took good care of it. Finally, the medicinal seedlings were revived. Qin Yun said casually. Nonsense. How could something like growing medicinal herbs be so easy? And these are all very precious divine medicines. When the white-robed man saw that Qin Yun was more handsome than him, he felt jealous and sneered. Supervisor Wang immediately smiled apologetically and said, Master Li is right. After all, he is a master from the Myriad Realm's divine court. He is experienced and knowledgeable. Chapter 2096. Qin Huayu smiled faintly and said softly, Young Master Li Xuanda's great name is truly well known. Among the three of us, young Master Li and young Master Long's achievements are far above mine. You're flattering me. Our reputation is undeserved. You are the one who has become a profound god in the Qin family for many years, and you are also proficient in flowers. Li Xuanda laughed self-deprecatingly. As for me, I'm a 3,000-year-old cured meat. My 3,000-year-old years can't even compare to your 100 years of cultivation. Young Master Long had already walked into the medicinal field and used his hands to touch the seedlings, carefully checking the growth of the seedlings. Qin Huayu shook her head with a smile, and also walked into the medicinal field. Seeing that the medicinal herbs were growing extremely well, her expression became much more relaxed. If the medicinal sprouts here were really about to wither and die as Manager Wang said, then their workload would be great. Li Xuanda looked at young Master Dragon and said, Brother Long, I heard that you only became a profound god when you were 5,000 years old. But you are also quite amazing, you are actually an inscription pill master. I, Long Lang, am just a piece of trash. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been arranged to do such boring things here. Only then did Long Lang speak. His words also caused Li Xuanda's expression to stiffen. Qin Yun felt that Long Lang was not bad. When he came here, he did not speak much. He directly checked the medicinal seedlings. He was a person who wanted to focus on his work. On the other hand, Li Xuanda did not do anything. Not only did he go and pick up girls, he even secretly mocked Long Lang for only becoming profound god at the age of 5,000. Qin Yun also understood that many of the major families in the divine wilderness would send their young disciples to the divine palace of Myriad World. In the god realm, 5,000 years was indeed considered young. That Qin Huayu was only 100 years old and had already become a profound god. Qin Yun only watched from the side, neither servile nor overbearing. Manager Wang didn't dare to interrupt. He was still a little afraid. He really didn't expect that this medicinal field could really come back to life. After Qin Huayu inspected a dozen or so medicinal sprouts, she exclaimed in admiration, The medicinal sprouts are growing extremely well. Who planted these in the first place? There's clearly such a capable person, so why did you send us here? Long Lankai also looked at Manager Wang in confusion. Manager Wang was stunned. Before Qin Yun came, this medicinal field had been abandoned for more than 2 years. It was Qin Yun's arrival that all the medicinal sprouts in the medicinal field were revived. Speak truthfully, Long Lang said in a deep voice. Before little Qin came, it was that old man Wu who took care of it. However, he drew too much water and soaked this place. He even said that this kind of medicinal herb should be planted like this. Later on, before the medicinal seedlings could grow, he ran away. Supervisor Wang glanced at Qin Yun and continued, After 2 years of neglect, little Qin came a few times. Heavens, the medicinal sprout has regained its vitality. Li Xuanda looked at Qin Yun and said with a sneer, Looks like our luck is pretty good. Just as we arrived, the medicinal sprout has been revived. This little god can get lost now. Master Li, the sect leader, said that someone must watch over the medicinal field. Are the 3 of you going to stay here for a long time? Manager Wang asked in a low voice. Of course. After Long Lang finished speaking, he took out a small house from his storage magic treasure and went inside. With a bang, he slammed the door shut. Qin Huayu released an enormous red flower bud that was over 10 meters tall. That flower bud was her residence. She had also entered it, probably to rest. What Li Xuanda released was a magnificent building. Xiao Qin, I will arrange something else for you. Manager Wang promptly brought Qin Yun out of the medicinal field and said in a low voice, It's really good to have 3 experts watching over it. Qin Yun left with Manager Wang and was arranged to stay near the medicinal field. The main task is to cut meat, a lot of beast meat. The beast meat is to be fed to the divine eagles. There are many divine eagles in the heavenly evil god sect. They are used to search outside or to pass on information. These are all chores to Qin Yun. It is very easy. He secretly used a very sharp weapon and quickly cut the beast meat. After finishing, he began cultivating. The God realm has 3 small realms. God realm mainly cultivates 3 divine profound Tao images. After cultivating 1 divine profound Tao image, one can enter the early stage God realm. The so-called divine profound Tao image is to use divine power and mental power to condense a virtual image around the God life crystal and then cultivate the virtual image into a true body. Qin Yun has already started early on. His heavenly Tao fierce power little heavenly lion, heavenly Tao flame violent power little divine hammer and heavenly Tao proud power little divine dragon are the initial state of the 3 divine profound Tao images. Right now, he only needed to cultivate further and condense the 3 of them into his true body. When the divine profound Tao image cultivated its true body, its divine power would also become stronger. When the 3 divine profound Tao images were completely cultivated, they would be able to open the profound God Tao meridian and step into the profound God realm. Qin Yun had experienced this several times, so it was very easy for him to cultivate in this life. It is impossible to use divine universe golden stone to cultivate the divine profound Tao image. Divine universe golden stone is only suitable for cultivating the physical body and soul. Qin Yun was very clear about this, because he had tried it before. The divine profound Tao image was a very special thing. It could be said that it was cultivating one's own Tao. The divine profound Tao image would gradually become stronger in the future, and the divine power it displayed would also become stronger. That Long Lankai from before was born in the divine wasteland. If his parents were both gods, then he would definitely be a god after he was born. However, it took him 5,000 years to become a profound god. One must know that he was still a disciple of an aristocratic family. If it was any other ordinary person, it would be even more difficult to become a profound god. Fortunately, it was a great era, so he would grow up much faster. If he had enough resources, his breakthrough speed would be very fast. Xiao Yun, the medicinal ingredients they are growing are wanted by the Myriad Realms Divine Court. The Myriad Realms Divine Court came all the way here to grow medicinal ingredients. What kind of medicinal ingredients are they? Ling Yun'er asked. I have never seen those medicinal ingredients before. Asked Shuiru or Little Phoenix. Qin Yun said with frown. Nangong Shuiru is an inscription pill master. She has already gone to the Myriad Realms Divine Court. No one knows what she is going to do. The Divine Moon World's Guang Han Palace has a share in the construction of the Myriad Realms Divine Court, so Nangong Shuiru can also go there. Qin Yun patiently cultivated and waited for the Divine Moon to appear at night before contacting Little Phoenix. With the 9 Sun Divine Vein, he can absorb the power of the Divine Sun very quickly. Even so, if he wants to condense a divine profound Tao image, it will take a very long time. He estimates that it will take about 10 years. Condensing 3 divine profound Tao images will take 30 years. 30 years to break through to the profound God realm. This can be said to be very fast, but Qin Yun feels that it is too slow. At night, Qin Yun used the beast skin formation to contact Little Phoenix. Little Phoenix is with Nangong Shuiru. She is also very fond of flowers and grasses. Qin Yun even helped her transform her martial spirit, making it suitable for growing medicinal ingredient. Therefore, she is very proficient in medicinal ingredient. Great Master Little Phoenix, I have something to ask you, Qin Yun said with smile. Brother Xiao Yun, why are you calling me that? I can't afford it. Little Phoenix is overwhelmed by the favor. She has been in the Guang Han Palace for a long time. She knows that Qin Yun used to be the 9 Sun Palace King and the God King. No matter which title, they are all very famous. I am growing a kind of medicinal ingredient in the heavenly evil god Sek's medicinal garden. That kind of medicinal ingredient is wanted by the myriad realms' divine court. That kind of grass is green, its leaves look like fairy wings. Qin Yun did not even finish speaking when Little Phoenix cried out in alarm. That is Xian Wing divine grass. Little Phoenix promptly said. Xian Wing divine grass? Qin Yun has been away from divine desolate for tens of thousands of years. It is not strange for him to have new medicinal ingredients. The seeds of Xian Wing divine grass are very useful. They can allow people to quickly condense profound spirit Tao image. The name also implies that if you eat the pill refined from the seeds, you can quickly fly to profound God realm. The conditions to grow Xian Wing divine grass are very harsh, yet the myriad realms divine court has so many seedlings. Little Phoenix said. Qin Yun's eyes moved quickly. This kind of medicinal ingredient is very difficult to grow. The sect leader must have known that it is impossible to grow it, so he had no choice but to wait for the divine court to send people over. How harsh are the conditions to grow it? Qin Yun asked. You need to harmonize the power of sun and moon. You also need divine spring that contains divine power, and you also need to water it properly. The most difficult part is this kind of Xian Wing divine grass. It needs to be protected very well. You need to set up several great formations, Little Phoenix said. Qin Yun finds it very strange because he casually made the seedlings grow again. Moreover, they are growing very well. It is not as difficult as Little Phoenix said. Little Phoenix, you don't have many of these medicinal ingredients, right? Qin Yun asked. Of course not. Even the Myriad Realms Divine Court doesn't have many. Our Guang Han Palace is also planting them, but the output is very low. Little Phoenix's voice sounded. From what you said, the Myriad Realms Divine Court attaches great importance to those medicinal fields. That's why they use so many seeds to grow them. When Qin Yun was planting them, he secretly planted quite a few seedlings and placed them inside the Nine Sun Divine Spirit. He planned to secretly plant a few and use them with Divine Flame Leaf and Divine Universe Golden Stone to refine pills. This would speed up his cultivation and allow him to cultivate 3 divine profound Tao images as soon as possible. Because he is near the waterfall, Qin Yun very easily obtained a lot of divine spring. The environment inside the first pearl of the Nine Sun Divine Spirit is also very good. It just lacks the illumination of the divine sun and divine moon. It's not easy to plant. I need to plant it in that medicinal field. Qin Yun tried for a few days and realized that the planting conditions are quite harsh. Today, he went to cut the beast meat to feed the eagle and met Manager Wang. According to Manager Wang, the medicinal seedlings in that medicinal field have started to turn yellow. Those leaves that look like fairy wings have all curled up and some have even fallen off. Even the 3 young experts of the Myriad Realms Divine Court are now badly battered. They are trying to find the reason. Qin Yun is even more astonished in his heart because Qin Huayu, Long Langkai and Li Xuanda all seem to be of pretty good level, but they are actually unable to make those medicinal ingredients grow stably. Could it be that the runes I inserted into the ground have dissipated? That's why there are problems? The runes drawn by Qin Yun using inscription battle technique are very useful because they are condensed from very strong blood spirit power. They can perfectly fuse with the soil and the roots of the medicinal plants. Chapter 2097. The place where Qin Yun is at is filled with piles of bloody beast meat. Those beasts were all killed and then sent here to be cut up. Therefore, the environment of this slaughterhouse is rather terrible. However, Qin Yun does not care. He has seen many bloody scenes than this place. However, Long Langkai, a young master with relatively high status, actually came here. After Qin Yun recovered from his astonishment, he felt that Long Langkai might have come to find him. He quickly turned around and when he saw Long Langkai, he politely said, "Hello, young Master Long." Long Lankai is wearing a light golden inscription master robe. After he arrived, he looked at the cut beast meat and said, "To be able to easily cut these powerful beast meat, it seems like your meat cutting tool is pretty good. Experienced people can see many things at a glance from the cut. Long Lankai is a person who has lived for 5,000 years, so he can naturally see this. That is a weapon I obtained by chance," Qin Yun said with a smile. "I heard from Manager Wang that your name is Qin Fei." Long Lankai said with a stern expression, "Qin Fei, how did you revive the medicinal sprouts in the medicinal field?" Qin Yun had already guessed that Long Lankai came to find him for this matter. Therefore, he had already thought of an excuse. Just as he was about to reply, he saw two people walking into the slaughterhouse. Other than Manager Wang, there is also a woman wearing light red clothes. It is Qin Huayu. When she saw Long Lankai here, she was quite shocked. Then, she flew up and arrived in front of Qin Yun and Long Lankai. "Master Long, Master Qin, if you have something you need to find little Qin, I can call him to see you. There is no need for you to come to this kind of sloppy place." Manager Wang's head is full of sweat, he seems very nervous. Manager Wang is very worried. The problem with the medicinal sprouts is related to Qin Yun. If it was related to Qin Yun, then he, as Manager Wang, would not be able to escape. Little Qin, right? You stayed in the medicinal field for several days before those medicinal sprouts were revived. Qin Huayu's face has a light smile, her eyes flowed and she asked softly. After Manager Wang heard this, he was alarmed. Long Lankai came by himself, Qin Huayu was brought by Manager Wang. They all have the same goal, they came to find Qin Yun and ask how those medicinal plants were revived. Little Qin, you are also an inscription master, right? Long Lang saw that Qin Huayu has arrived. Moreover, she has a smile on her face, so he asked with a smile. "I just came from the lower realms. I am indeed an inscription master." Qin Yun was neither servile nor overbearing. He replied with a smile, "I previously used some inscription techniques to plant those medicinal herbs. Coincidentally, I was able to regenerate them." Qin Huayu's beautiful eyes flickered, and she said with a light smile, "So, you came from the lower realms. Those from the lower realms are all great talents. Those who came from the lower realm would have to go through a lot of hardships to become gods and ascend to the upper realm. As for Qin Yun, he had climbed up step by step from the lowest level of the lower realm to the highest level of the god world and arrived in the god wilderness. Therefore, in terms of the state of mind, most of the people who came from the lower realm were extremely high. No wonder. If he came from the lower realms, he might even be older than me." Long Lankai was already certain that the rebirth of the medicinal seedlings in the medicinal field was all done by Qin Yun. Because during this period of time, the three of them had put in a lot of effort but were unable to stop the Xian Wing divine grass seedlings from withering. If they couldn't complete this task and returned to the Myriad Realms divine court, they would definitely be punished. Furthermore, they would be scolded by the sect master of the heavenly evil god sect and wouldn't even receive a reward. Although Qin Huayu and Long Lankai were disciples of famous sects and their status was extremely high, they were pretty good, unlike that Li Xuanda. "Little Qin, our surnames are both Qin, we can be considered to be from the same family." Qin Huayu smiled sweetly and arrived beside Qin Yun. She said, "Let's go, follow me back to the medicinal garden." Director Wang is stunned. He never expected that this little god would actually have such great ability. "Little Qin, don't worry. If you succeed in growing the medicinal herbs, you will receive the reward you deserve." Long Lankai said, "Let's go back to the medicinal garden." "Little Qin, you just came from the lower realms, so you don't know much about the god wilderness. In the god wilderness, inscription masters and pill masters all have extremely high status. You don't need to be too modest." Qin Huayu said again, "Look at this big brother Long. He is an inscription pill master. The treatment he received is very good. Qin Yun nodded and said, "Then this brat will follow the two of you back to the medicinal garden. Director Wang, little Qin will follow us back. Find someone else to take over the work here." Qin Huayu said, "Yes." Director Wang nodded repeatedly, secretly blaming himself for making an error of judgment. Just like this, Qin Yun followed Qin Huayu and Long Lankai back to the medicinal garden. Qin Yun had long wanted to go back, because only there could the Xian Wing divine grass grow better. He wanted to secretly plant some for his own use. After returning to the medicinal garden, Qin Yun saw that the soil here is very moist. Clearly, it has been watered with divine spring water. "Little Qin, why are these medicinal sprouts like this?" Qin Huayu asked in low voice. Qin Yun squatted down and released his formidable mental power. At the same time, he secretly opened his heavenly eye to observe the reason why these medicinal sprouts are gradually withering. If he could figure it out, even if he was not in this place, he would know how to quickly grow Xian Wing divine grass. Very quickly, he discovered the reason. Xian Wing divine grass cannot actively absorb divine power to grow, or it could be said that the speed at which it absorbs divine power is very slow. Furthermore, when absorbing divine power, it cannot be affected by any kind of influence. If there was a sudden gust of wind, rain or vibration, it would scare the medicinal sprouts, causing them to seal themselves for a very long period of time. After being frightened, the medicinal sprouts would completely protect themselves. Although this kind of protection is not very effective, it is an instinctive reaction. And Qin Huayu and the others are unable to discover this point. They thought that they did not water enough, so they constantly increased the amount of irrigation. This also caused the medicinal sprouts to be frightened. Qin Yun has heavenly eye. He can see through the situation inside the medicinal sprouts. Therefore, he can discover things that many people cannot see. Although the Xian Wing divine grass he planted inside the Nine Sun divine spirit was not frightened, it was not acclimatized to the environment, so it did not absorb divine power to grow. This place with divine spring is the favorite place of the Xian Wing divine grass. Or it could be said that the water and soil here allowed the Xian Wing divine grass to integrate into it. To the Xian Wing divine grass, it is a paradise. Qin Yun observed. Long Lankai and Qin Huayu did not disturb him. At this time, Li Xuanda arrived. This Li Xuanda is actually wearing the white robe of an inscription master. After he came in and saw Qin Yun, he angrily rebuked. "What is this guy doing? How can you let him run in? Quickly make him scram out." "Li Xuanda, this is an inscription master from the lower realms. We invited him here to help us revive the medicinal sprouts." Long Lankai glanced at Li Xuanda and said with sneer, "Li Xuanda, I remember that you are not an inscription master." "I am not an inscription master. It does not prevent me from wearing clothes with runes." Li Xuanda coldly snorted and said, "Long Lankai, are you sick in the head? In a desperate situation, you seek this guy's help? Only a stupid pig would do such a thing." Qin Huayu said faintly, "I also asked little Qin for help. So you are saying that I am also a stupid pig?" Li Xuanda is startled. He really can't see what kind of ability Qin Yun has. Because if the three of them can't do it, this little god definitely can't do it either. "I am the captain. You did not discuss this matter with me and directly brought others to this important place. Are you not putting me in your eyes?" Li Xuanda can already see that Long Lankai and Qin Huayu are very disgusted with him. Therefore, he used his status as captain to suppress them. "Captain, we have been looking for you for the past 2 days. Where did you go?" Qin Huayu's voice became a bit colder. "I reckon that he pretended to be an inscription master and went everywhere to pretend," Long Lankai said mockingly. "Good. You two actually joined hands to attack me, the captain, for this little god." Li Xuanda immediately became furious and said in deep voice, "I understand you deliberately brought this guy here to provoke my dignity." Qin Yun said, I will now begin drawing runes to help the medicinal sprouts absorb divine power. Drawing runes? You can draw, fart, stop pretending, Li Xuanda said angrily. Quickly get the hell out of here, Qin Huayu said with frown. Li Xuanda, don't think that just because you are the captain, we are afraid of you, Li Xuanda said with sneer. Qin Huayu, don't think that just because you have some good looks, I will kneel and lick your boots. You are just a woman, you will definitely be a slut in bed. Why are you pretending to be noble and virtuous? Qin Huayu's expression changed as she said in cold voice, Say that again. Li Xuanda laughed loudly and said, You two idiots, do you know what I have been doing these past 2 days? I went to beat up some heavenly evil god cult elders. 2 of them have already called me brothers. We will be staying here for a long time in the future. If you don't even understand this, it's no wonder you can't become captain. This medicinal field will ultimately be under the heavenly evil god cult's control. I will inform those 2 elders to come over and chase you out of this medicinal field. While speaking, Li Xuanda shot something that looked like a firework into the sky. It was a kind of signal that could inform nearby friends to come over. Not long after, there were 2 slightly powerful auras of divine power that blew over along with a gust of wind. Qin Yun frowned secretly. The black-winged divine grass here was most afraid of such fluctuations. He finally understood why the black-winged divine grass was so hard to grow. Sure enough, there were 2 elders here. The 2 elders were middle-aged men and looked like brothers. Their faces were slightly square and they had a beard. Their bodies were also rather tall and sturdy. They were naturally profound god and their strength was stronger than Li Xuanda and the other 2 young profound god. Great Elder Wei, Second Elder Wei. Li Xuanda immediately walked over and said with a clear smile, Something happened here, that's why I troubled the 2 of you to rush over. Chapter 2098. Although Long Langkai and Qin Huayu came from the myriad world's divine court, their cultivations weren't very high. Thus, they had to be polite to the elders of the heavenly evil sect. After all, the elders of the heavenly evil sect were appointed by the heavenly evil sect master. The heavenly evil sect master was a god with a god seat. His position in the myriad world's divine court was extremely high. In the heavenly evil cult, Hua Jiu and the rest had to behave themselves to avoid offending the deity throne god. Xiao Li, what's the matter? Grand Elder Wei asked. From his expression, he seemed to be a bit impatient. Elders, I believe you know the importance of this herb field, right? Li Xuanda glanced at Qin Yun and said, This is an important place where outsiders are not allowed to enter. But Qin Huayu and Long Langkai allowed a worker to enter. Afterwards, Li Xuanda told the 2 elders what had happened in a loud voice, not letting Qin Huayu and the others have any chance to interrupt. After hearing this, the 2 elders looked at Qin Yun with anger on their faces. Elders, please listen to our explanation. Long Langkai wished he could pinch Li Xuanda to death, so he quickly cupped his hands. Li Xuanda sneered, Explanation my ass? The 2 of you, without our permission, let random people in and caused this herb field to become like this. This is your responsibility. Li Xuanda, what do you mean by this? Are you trying to push the blame onto us? Although Qin Huayu was a woman, she still shouted angrily. What do you mean push the blame onto you? This is clearly your responsibility. I've been with the 2 elders for the past 2 days, imparting cultivation techniques to the 2 young masters of the elders. I just came back and the herb field has become like this, Li Xuanda said. Clearly, Li Xuanda wanted to push the blame onto Long Langkai and Qin Huayu. This way, even if the myriad world's divine court blamed them, it would have nothing to do with him. The 2 elders seemed to believe that this was Long Langkai and Qin Huayu's responsibility. Since this place has been ruined by you 2, then I won't stay either. Li Xuanda said, Elders, you have to testify for me. This has nothing to do with me. All right, we will report this matter to the sect leader tonight. Xiao Li, Don't come to the herb garden during this period of time. Otherwise, they will implicate you. Grand Elder Wei said coldly. Little Li, follow us to meet the hierarch. We will explain this matter and determine the person responsible. Second Elder Wei said. Li Xuanda smiled and nodded. All right, then let's leave this place now. Since they think that the odd job worker has a way, then let them be. First Elder Wei continued. I will arrange for people to guard the herb garden. None of them are allowed to leave this place. They have to bear the main responsibility. Qin Huayu and Long Lancai's faces were gloomy. They weren't a match for the two elders, so there was nothing they could do. They could only wait until they returned to the divine court of myriad worlds to explain the matter. Li Xuanda and the two elders left, and they were even talking and laughing. Those two elders are definitely in charge of the herb garden. They want to push the blame on us. Long Lang sneered. These three guys have underestimated the myriad realms' divine court's method of determining responsibility. How does the myriad realms' divine court determine responsibility? Qin Yun asked. When determining responsibility, they will make all the participants sign a soul contract. Then they will interrogate them. Whoever lies will die. Qin Huayu coldly snorted and said, That bastardly Xuanda dares to act so recklessly just because he has people behind him. It seems like he doesn't know how strict the laws of the myriad realms' divine court are. Qin Yun said, Then I'll begin. Oh right, this herb garden should have a great formation. Soon after, Qin Yun also gave a simple explanation about how the medicinal herbs couldn't be stimulated. Long Lancai and Qin Huayu immediately went to activate the Great Formation to prevent it from being blown in by the wind. That Great Formation is quite strong, even profound God can't break it. Even if the two elders came again, they wouldn't be able to easily enter. Qin Yun began drawing runes with his hands. He drew one rune after another and sent it into an acre of medicinal field. This caused Long Lancai and Qin Huayu to be extremely apprehensive, because this is an inscription battle technique. Even in the Divine Desolate, inscription masters who can master inscription battle technique are quite rare. There are already very few inscription masters, and those who can master inscription battle technique are even rarer. Brother Qin, you are truly amazing. 10 rune drawing inscription battle technique. This is really rare. Long Lancai is filled with admiration in his heart and said with a smile. Little Qin, you and I have the same surname, we are both surnamed Qin. How about you follow me back to the Qin family? Qin Huayu said with a smile. Don't worry, big sister will protect you in the Qin family, I guarantee that you won't be bullied. Long Lancai also wanted to rope Qin Yun in to the Long family, but after thinking about it carefully, his method of roping people in is far inferior to Qin Huayu's. Qin Huayu is a woman and very beautiful at that. She is also gentle and considerate to people, and her talent is also extremely high. Long Lancai cannot compare to her. I don't have that plan for now, Qin Yun said with a smile. Our Qin family welcomes people with the surname Qin to join us. Even if you don't have the bloodline of the Qin imperial clan, we still welcome you, Qin Huayu said. Big sister Qin, your Qin family is from the Qin imperial clan? Qin Yun is somewhat surprised. Yes. Qin Huayu smiled, and then she looked at Long Lancai and said, Big brother Long is from an imperial clan as well. The Tharch race could be said to be the descendants of the Nine Sons royal race. Half of them had the Nine Sons royal race's bloodline. Qin Huayu was from the Qin imperial clan, while Long Lang was from the imperial dragon clan. They were both from imperial clans. It was no wonder that they appeared to be so united. The Divine Wilderness Tharch clans were also a rather powerful faction. When I was in Immortal Desolate and Sacred Desolate, I also heard about Emperor Race. Qin Yun said again. Little Qin, I didn't expect you to come from the Immortal Desolate. That's too awesome. Qin Huayu said with a smile after a moment of shock. The imperial clans of the gods desolate have already split up. It is no longer a whole. Long Lang sighed. Isn't this all because of your imperial dragon race? A good imperial clan was turned into this by him. Qin Huayu sighed bitterly. The various clans of the imperial clan have all gone their separate ways. Qin Yun shook his head and said, "You should unite. Otherwise, it would be impossible for us to gain a foothold in the gods' wilderness." Qin Huayu said, "My Qin imperial clan's clan king has now proclaimed himself as the Qin imperial clan's emperor. His strength is still very strong. Don't worry." Long Lang sighed and said, "Our imperial dragon race has disintegrated greatly. The dragons and humans are all divided into several factions. Your Qin imperial clan is still the most united." "Of course, our Qin imperial clan has always been united for many years." Qin Huayu sighed lightly. "The other clans have all disintegrated from within. For their own interests, they are unable to gather together." Qin Yun said with smile, "If it's the Qin imperial clan, then I would be happy to join. Back then, when I was in the Immortal Desolate, I also joined the Qin imperial clan." "That's great. After this matter is finished, I'll bring you back to our Qin Medicine King City." Qin Huayu said. Aren't we going to the Qin imperial clan?" Qin Yun asked. "The Qin imperial clan has 1 clan emperor and 10 clan kings. Qin Huayu is from the Qin Medicine King's side." Long Lang said, "Even though we are separated, when we need to, we will unite together. This is something our imperial dragon race is unable to do." Long Lang still wants to be united because only by being united can they become even stronger. All these years, Qin Yun has never thought about this imperial clan. He remembers that back then Elder Qin said that the Qin imperial clan's clan emperor in the Divine Desolate is very strong. Moreover, just like him, when testing bloodline, the bloodline crystal is black. When testing bloodline, the bloodline crystal is black. It has a special meaning. It is said that it is the person being tested by the heavenly Tao. As for whether it is true or not, Qin Yun doesn't know because he has never heard of such a thing. Therefore, Qin Yun wants to meet the Qin imperial clan emperor and see what kind of situation he is in. He also has a certain amount of Qin imperial clan's bloodline in his body. It can be said that the Qin imperial clan is his root. When he was in the Immortal Desolate, the Qin imperial clan's clan king and elders were rather protective of him and treated him very well. Now that he met Qin Huayu in the Divine Desolate, she is also a very good person. From this, it can be seen that the overall atmosphere of the Qin imperial clan is rather united. It is so united that Long Lang is very envious. At night, Qin Huayu is staying in her flower bud house. Long Lang Kai is also resting in his own house. And Qin Yun is busily drawing runes and inserting them into the soil. This is used to help absorb the power of the divine moon. He calculated that every 10 days or so, he needs to draw new runes and insert them into the soil. This will allow the Xian Wing divine grass to fuse with the water and soil very well. Qin Huayu and Long Lang Kai are in their house. They are also quietly looking at the medicine field outside. They really want to see what kind of runes these are. How can they be so brilliant? Long Lang is an inscription pill master, so he is very clear about the great taboo of inscription masters. They cannot ask for other people's runes. After Qin Yun finished, he looked at the divine moon in the sky and then returned to the floating cloud pagoda to rest. Although his floating cloud pagoda used to be the famous 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda, its surface is now full of potholes. Not many people can recognize it as the 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda. During the day, Qin Yun secretly gathered a lot of soil and placed it inside the floating cloud pagoda. He also planted a lot of Xian Wing divine grass inside the floating cloud pagoda for his own use. Qin Yun also released the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation to try to help the Xian Wing divine grass grow, but it didn't succeed. The Xian-wing divine grass is very picky, it only absorbs the power of the divine spring. Fortunately, I only need this kind of medicinal ingredient to enter the profound God realm. If I need this kind of medicinal ingredient in the future, it will be rather difficult to grow it. Even at night, Qin Yun did not rest. He carefully took care of the dozens of Xian-wing divine grass. Next day, early morning, Qin Yun woke up early in the morning. He saw that the medicinal sprouts in the medicine field have become very green, the curled-up leaves have already unfolded. He felt a lot more at ease. Qin Huayu and Long Lankai even more exclaimed in admiration from the bottom of their hearts. Chapter 2099. Did you offend someone in the myriad world divine court? That's why they deliberately sent you here to do this kind of thing, they clearly want to mess with you. Qin Yun said. Long Lankai frowned, shook his head and said, No, I am mainly responsible for looking after a few medicine fields in the myriad world divine court. I have never offended anyone. I don't know who I have offended. In short, many people pursued me but I ignored them. Qin Huayu said with frown, It is possible that I have offended someone. Long Lankai thought for a moment and shouted, I understand. Someone wants to eliminate us. What kind of selection are you doing? Qin Yun asked. Pill God and Medicine God are selecting disciples from the myriad world divine court. They will test us for a period of time. Qin Huayu lightly groaned and said, Who is playing tricks behind the scenes? Isn't it said that the myriad world divine court is very strict? Why would someone do such a thing? Qin Yun asked. It seems like we were sent here for the selection of Pill God and Medicine God. It has nothing to do with the myriad world divine court. Long Lansai's expression turned serious and said, Li Xuanda should have known, that's why he dared to frame us. Pill God and Medicine God are gods with divine position, moreover, their status is not low. Have you seen Pill God and Medicine God? Qin Yun recalled the matter of these two gods in his mind. Back then, he was the king of gods, his relationship with these two gods is very good, they can be considered good friends. I haven't seen them but I heard that Pill God and Medicine God are old men, they are brothers. Long Lankai said. Qin Yun was secretly delighted because these two gods were familiar to him. They were the two brothers. Qin Yun asked again, What about Thunder God? Have you seen him? Thunder God? That is one of the four great protectors. How could we have seen him? Long Lankai laughed at himself. Four great protectors, they are very powerful existences in the myriad world divine court. Four great protectors, who are they? Although Qin Yun calmly asked, hatred surged in his heart. When he was the king of gods, Thunder God was his disciple. Both Thunder God and Love God betrayed him. The four great guardian gods are the Thunder God, the Fire God, the War God, and the Sword God. I heard that the Sword God was the weakest. I heard that he was very young and unexpectedly obtained the Sword God's deity position. Long Lang said. The Sword God was Xie Wufeng. Qin Yun nodded. He had a general understanding of the myriad world's divine court. It was a place where a large group of gods gathered to maintain order in the divine wilderness. On the surface, all the gods seemed to abide by the rules, but in the dark, no one knew. Qin Yun did not believe that the Cupid God and the Thunder God would be so obedient. Then who's the strongest in myriad world's divine court? It was rare for Qin Yun to come into contact with someone from myriad world's divine court, so he naturally had to ask. The strongest? No one knows. Some say it's the Love God, some say it's the Thunder God, and some say it's the Fire God. Long Lankai shook his head and said, They haven't fought it before, so no one knows. Qin Huayu smiled. Little Qin, the strongest in the myriad world's divine court is not necessarily the strongest in the divine wilderness. Our Qin clan emperor is very strong. He is not inferior to the strong gods of the myriad world's divine court. Long Lankai laughed and said, Our Emperor Dragon Clan's emperor is not weak either. Of course, it's also not certain who is the strongest in the divine wilderness. It was indeed difficult to conclude who was the strongest. Because of this, no one dared to call themselves the Divine King. At any moment they would be challenged by stronger people. Even the monsters of the primal chaos realm did not come to the divine wilderness to proclaim themselves as the overlord. Clearly, they were afraid of being slapped in the face by stronger people. This made Qin Yun feel that the divine wilderness of the heavens was simply too bizarre. Even the monsters of the primal chaos realm did not dare to be arrogant. Clearly, they knew that there were stronger people hidden in the divine wilderness. There was no limit in the universe. The true experts were very clear on this point. Back then, Qin Yun was the Nine-Yang Palace King and thought that he had reached the peak of the divine realm. However, in the ancient desolate, he was beaten by a child of the primal chaos race to the point that he doubted his life. This was something that left a deep impression on him. When the myriad worlds' heavens gathered together, even the people of the primal chaos realm had to keep a low profile. Otherwise, it would be easy for them to be taught how to behave. Why didn't the myriad worlds' divine court choose a divine king? Qin Yun asked. The divine court is without a leader. Who should they choose? Previously, under the protection of the heavenly Tao divine realm, the love god called herself the divine king. But when the divine wilderness formed, even she did not dare to. Qin Huayu shook her head and said, "It's not that they can't choose, it's that no one can catch up." Long Lankai said, "In the myriad world's divine court, I heard that there was a very weak divine king who died without knowing why. He lost the very precious divine king heavenly seal. That divine king heavenly seal is very precious. There is a rumor in the myriad world's divine court that if the heavenly seal is not found, there will not be a new divine king." Long Lankai continued. Qin Yun secretly curled his lips. He was that legendary weak divine king, but he was not weak at all. He was killed because he was betrayed by the love god and the thunder god. Of course, no one would believe such a thing because the god of love and the god of thunder had great prestige in the myriad world's divine court. The myriad world's divine court now only has the elder pavilion. When important decisions are made, many elders will vote. Qin Huayu said. The three of them talked about the myriad world's divine court in the medicine garden. Qin Yun gained a lot from this. He has a better understanding of the myriad world's divine court. That is the center of power that he will face in the future. It will be helpful to understand it earlier. While chatting, Qin Yun asked from time to time if they have heard of the Nine-Yang Palace King or Qin Yun. Long Lankai and Qin Huayu have never heard of him. Qin Yun was trapped in the space-time turbulence for more than 100 years. He did not cause any trouble for such a long time. In addition, many big things happened in the divine desolate land, so many people gradually forgot about him and did not talk about him anymore. He suddenly felt that his 100 years of delay was not a bad thing. At least his fame disappeared in the divine desolate land. Long Lankai is from the D-Dragon clan, so he knows very much about the Dragon clan. Qin Yun asked about the immortal desolate land Dragon Emperor. After he came to the divine desolate land, he became very famous and was called Long Ju. Long Ju is most famous for his 9-dragon heavenly origin formation. Originally, the D-Dragon clan of the divine desolate land also had a 9-dragon heavenly origin formation. However, that 9-dragon heavenly origin formation is too old and is already finished. Therefore, Long Ju's 9-dragon heavenly origin formation is the only one that exists in the divine desolate land. Although the immortal desolate land Dragon Emperor came from the immortal desolate land, because he has the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation and is together with the divine universe Ice Dragon, he began to strengthen his power. Even Long Lankai wants to rely on Long Ju. Qin Yun also asked about the divine universe Dragon Pearl. Long Lankai does not know much about it. He only said that this kind of thing is only known by experts like the clan emperor. Little Qin, do you know what kind of medicinal herbs these medicinal seedlings are? Long Lankai smiled mysteriously. What kind of medicinal herbs are they? It seems to be very important to the myriad world's divine court. Qin Yun pretended not to know and asked in a low voice. This is the Xian Wing Divine Grass. It is used to refine the Xian Wing Divine Pill. It can allow gods to advance by leaps and bounds. Long Lankai said, this kind of medicinal herb is extremely rare and difficult to grow, but its grade is not high. Qin Huayu said, even if it is refined into a pill, it is very difficult. Only the pill god of the myriad world's divine court knows how to refine it. The medicine god knows how to extract the seed. As for how to grow it, even the medicine god does not know. I am now a god. How much is the Xian Wing Divine Pill? Qin Yun asked. It is very precious. Long Lankai shook his head and said, usually it is not sold. It is mainly refined for the elders of the myriad world's divine court. The elders bring it back to the younger generation and let them reach the Xian god realm quickly. If I could buy it, I would have become a Xian god long ago. Qin Huayu sighed. I have endured for 5,000 years to become a Xian god. Long Lankai smiled bitterly. Qin Yun was moved and asked, how long does it take to break through after eating the Xian Wing Divine Pill? It is said that one can form a Xian god Dao statue in a month. Qin Huayu said, my Qin imperial clan only has one elder position in the myriad world's divine court. So we can only get one Xian Wing Divine Pill every year. The stronger the clan or sect, the more elder positions they have in the myriad world's divine court. Then they can get more pills. Long Lankai said again. Qin Yun felt that it would not be a problem for him to refine many of these pills. He only needed to grow them. His heavenly pill-melting furnace is very powerful. It would be able to easily condense the Xian Wing Divine Grass into divine pills. Bang! 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 Suddenly, a muffled sound came. Someone is attacking the barrier. Qin Yun whispered. It must be that bastard Li Xuanda. Long Lankai immediately stood up and walked to the entrance of the herb garden. After the herb garden opened the barrier, even if someone attacked the barrier, the movement would be very small. Li Xuanda could not enter the barrier. He could only float in the air and look at the herb garden through the barrier. He found that the seedlings were recovering well. He was secretly angry. I didn't expect that little servant to have a way to recover. Li Xuanda, don't mess around here. Qin Huayu said. In 3 months, people from the myriad world's divine court will come to collect the Xian Wing Divine Grass. They need 1,000. If you can't grow them, you will all be finished. But I will be fine. Li Xuanda sneered. 3 months? Long Langsai's expression greatly changed. He said in deep voice, Li Xuanda, what did you do? Li Xuanda laughed loudly and said, I told Grand Elder Wei and the others to inform the myriad world's divine court. I told them that the herbs here are growing well. I just want you to die faster. The one who will die faster is you. Qin Huayu angrily said, You are toying with the people of the myriad world's divine court. Aren't you afraid? What am I afraid of? This is a mission sent by Pill God and Medicine God. It is not through the myriad world's divine court, and there is no need to sign a soul contract. Li Xuanda finished speaking and flew away. Qin Yun's expression is indifferent. He said, 3 months there is still time. Brother Long, go and set up an illusion formation to prevent outsiders from seeing the situation of the herb garden. Lest Li Xuanda sees that the seedlings are growing well and comes to cause trouble. Little Qin, it's up to you. If we can complete the mission, we can become disciples of Pill God and Medicine God. After we become rich, we won't forget you. Long Lankai knows that Qin Yun is very powerful, so he placed his hopes on Qin Yun. Chapter 2100. Xian Wing Divine Grass is very difficult to grow. Although there are many seeds distributed, there is no requirement for all of them to grow. More than 10,000 seeds required to hand over 1,000 mature Xian Wing Divine Grass. This can be seen from this point. Although Qin Yun had quite a number of Divine Universe Goldstones, just having Divine Universe Goldstones was not enough to cultivate in the Divine World, especially in a new era like the Divine Wilderness. To become stronger, he still needed to rely on the power of the myriad realms' Divine Sunday. The medicinal herbs that grow in the God Desolate are formed by absorbing the power of the myriad realms' Divine Sunday. If they can be used to refine pills, they can quickly obtain power and become stronger. Therefore, in the God Desolate, pills are very important. Long Lankai is also a pretty good inscription master. He quickly set up an illusion formation according to Qin Yun's instructions. This way, when looking at the medicine garden from the outside, it would be impossible to see the exact situation inside. For example, looking at the medicine garden from the outside, the inside is fixed at the time when the illusion formation was set up. Even after 3 months, when the medicinal sprouts mature, the situation from the outside is still that of the medicinal sprouts in a half-dead state. This kind of illusion formation can pass off the fake as the real and confuse the enemy to investigate the situation. Qin Yun did not want Li Xuanda to know the true situation of the medicine garden. If he saw that the medicinal sprouts here could grow, then Li Xuanda would definitely make a big fuss and say that all the credit is his. He might even take away all the medicinal sprouts and take a portion for himself. This Li Xuanda, if he knew that we could grow the Xian Wing Divine Grass, he would definitely regret it to death. Qin Huayu said with a smile. Therefore, we must not let him know that we have improved here. Otherwise, all the credit will be taken away by him, and he might even slander us for being lazy or something. Long Lankai and Qin Huayu can also predict Li Xuanda's methods, so they understand the importance of setting up an illusion formation. There are a total of 12,000 medicinal sprouts here. If they all grow, we will only need to hand over 2,000. Qin Yun said in a low voice. When Qin Huayu and Long Lankai heard this, their hearts trembled. The reason why they are shocked is not only because Qin Yun wants to embezzle the Xian Wing Divine Grass, but also because Qin Yun is very confident that he can make all the medicinal sprouts grow. Little Qin, according to the situation I have grasped, the medicine god distributed a total of 15,000 seeds here and 3,000 medicinal sprouts died in succession. Now there's still 12,000 left. We just need to plant 1,000 matured medicinal herbs and hand them over. Qin Huayu said in a low voice. Logically speaking, out of 12,000 seeds, 600 would be required. If we hand over 2,000, it will be completely enough. Long Lang thought carefully and hurriedly said. Qin Huayu smiled lightly. Little Qin, if you can really make the medicinal sprouts here grow, then do whatever you want. Only then did Long Lang nod his head and say, Brother Qin, we absolutely won't tell anyone about this matter, you can rest assured. If it weren't for you, we would have been tricked by Li Xuanda this time. Qin Yun originally thought that it would be rather difficult to accomplish this matter. He never expected that Long Lankai and Qin Huayu would agree so readily. Long Lankai and Qin Huayu are not stupid. They know that Qin Yun is very powerful. Having a good relationship with such a capable person will be of great help to them in the future. Of course, they are still very surprised that Qin Yun's appetite is so big that he wants to swallow so many medicinal seedlings. Little Qin, if you obtain these medicinal herbs, you have to be careful when you make a move so as to avoid arousing suspicion. Qin Huayu warned. Don't worry, I'll take care of it, Qin Yun said with a smile. Brother Qin, you can't be thinking of using it to refine pills, right? Long Lankai is slightly shocked and asked. That's exactly what I'm thinking. With so many medicinal herbs to practice with, I should be able to succeed. Qin Yun chuckled and said, Wait until I refine the Xian E divine pill. At that time, I'll ask the two of you to help me test its effects. Definitely, definitely, Long Lankai promptly said with a smile. With Brother Qin's outstanding talent, you might really be able to refine the Xian E divine pill. Qin Huayu's beautiful eyes flickered. If Qin Yun could really refine it, he could hand it over to their Medicine King City to handle. This would allow Medicine King City to nurture even more profound God. This is only Qin Huayu's current thoughts. As for the specifics, she still has to wait for Qin Yun to refine the pill. Qin Yun's 3 lives as the Nine-Yang Palace King, King of Gods and immortal King Fu Yun are all extremely proficient in inscription. His current mastery of inscription can be said to be very thorough. He completely has the energy to walk the Tao of alchemy. With his foundation as an inscription master, this will make his Tao of alchemy even smoother. 3 months passed by very quickly. Li Xuanda came yesterday and informed Qin Huayu and the others outside the Medicine Garden's barrier that the people sent by the Medicine God to collect the medicinal ingredients would arrive in a few days. When Li Xuanda arrived, he only saw an acre of medicine field with medicinal seedlings still alive. This was mainly revealed through the illusion formation. The real situation inside the medicine garden is that the medicinal seedlings have grown very well. They have grown to the height of half a person and produced many grass seeds. Those grass seeds are like rice grains. They are wrapped in shells and emitted a very rich fragrance. The grass seeds are inside the white shells. When taken out, they look like round pearls that glowed at night. At night, Qin Yun and company were busy harvesting. They harvested over 10,000 mature Xian E divine grasses, leaving only 2,000 behind for the people from the Medicine God sect to collect. A few days later, early in the morning, Li Xuanda's annoying voice sounded. Qin Huayu, Long Lankai, the Medicine God has sent a few seniors to collect the medicinal ingredients. Why aren't you coming out to welcome me? Li Xuanda said with a sneer. Don't tell me you want to hide inside and not come out to avoid responsibility? Qin Huayu, Long Lankai and Qin Yun immediately walked out from the back door and went around to the main entrance. When they arrived at the main entrance, they saw a few white-robed old men. They seemed to be very strong, profound God, but their specific strength could not be seen. Since they were sent by the Medicine God, they must be very strong. Li Xuanda, Great Elder Wei and Second Elder Wei were all outside, smiling as they accompanied the few old men sent by the Medicine God. Even First Elder Wei and Second Elder Wei had to be respectful to the people sent by the Alchemy God, as if they were their grandchildren. They were afraid of offending these seniors. When Li Xuanda saw Qin Huayu and the others come out, he hurriedly said to a bald old man, Elder Zhua, "These are the 2 fellows who harmed the medicinal field. They are from the Qin Imperial Clan and the Imperial Dragon Clan respectively. One is surnamed Qin, the other is surnamed Long." The bald old man nodded and said, "These 2 little friends, we heard about your matter from Little Li. Sigh. You guys are too careless." "Elder Zhua, how will we be punished?" Qin Huayu asked in a low voice. "Originally, this was a great opportunity for you guys to perform. If you succeeded, you would be able to see the Medicine God and the Pill God. If you could enter their eyes, then your future would be limitless." Elder Zhua shook his head and sighed. "What about Li Xuanda?" Long Lankai coldly glanced at Li Xuanda. "According to Great Elder Wei and Second Elder Wei, the 2 of you have been taking care of the medicinal field these days. And Li Xuanda did not directly harm the medicinal seedlings, so he will not be punished." Elder Zhua said. "Li Xuanda is our captain." Qin Huayu lightly snorted. Great Elder Wei hurriedly said, "Before Li Xuanda came, the medicinal seedlings in the medicinal field were already growing very well. After he came to the Heavenly Evil God sect, he has always been a guest at our place and has never stepped into the medicinal field." Second Elder Wei also nodded and said, "He doesn't know the situation in the medicinal field at all. It's just that when he returned, he saw the medicinal seedlings withered. Li Xuanda said with a pained expression, I don't know the situation in the medicinal field at all. I also don't want to know because seeing you destroy those medicinal seedlings, I am truly sad. Elder Zhua, if we can give you enough mature Xian divine grass, will Li Xuanda receive a reward for not participating in the planting of the medicinal herbs? Long Lenkai asked. Naturally, he will not receive a reward. Instead, he will be punished because he did not participate. Elder Zhua frowned and asked, Did you guys succeed? Li Xuanda raised his brows and glanced at the calm Qin Yun. He suddenly had a bad premonition. Elder Zhua, please. Qin Huayu suddenly opened the door of the medicinal field very wide. After the door of the medicinal field was opened, the peculiar fragrance of the Xian divine grass suddenly rushed out. Elder Zhua immediately became incomparably excited and shouted, This is a lot of Xian divine grass and they are growing very well. Otherwise, there would not be such a strange fragrance. The few elders behind Elder Zhua were all extremely excited. As long as the medicine god personally planted it, it is possible to grow Xian divine grass that emits a strange fragrance. Could it be that the medicine god is inside? One of the elders hurriedly walked in. After entering, they saw a small medicinal field with a bunch of very large mystic wing divine grass growing on it. Every single mystic wing divine grass was filled with many grass seeds. Seeing this scene, Li Xuanda was immediately stunned. This was because what he saw in the air was not like this. What he saw were some medicinal sprouts that were about to wither. 2000, and it's such a perfect Xian divine grass. Great, great. Elder Zhua caressed the leaves of the Xian divine grass and praised it incessantly. He looked very excited. Li Xuanda, Great Elder Wei and Second Elder Wei all felt like they were king dogs. You guys set up an illusion array. Li Xuanda was also not stupid. He immediately realized that he had been tricked by the illusion array and hurriedly shouted, Elder Zhua, they joined hands to deal with me and ostracize me. Qin Huayu hurriedly explained, Elder Zhua, Li Xuanda saw that the medicinal sprouts were growing very poorly and wanted to make us take the blame. He had no intention of saving us at all. This person is extremely despicable and wants to use this opportunity to frame us. In order to prevent him from destroying the growth of the medicinal sprouts, we used an illusion array to prevent him from seeing the growth of the medicinal sprouts. If we do well, he will embezzle from it. Elder Zhua was an old fellow after all. An old fox like him immediately understood that this was a contest between youngsters. And he was also very biased towards Qin Huayu and Long Lankai. To be able to grow such good Xian divine grass, they definitely had a certain level of experience. Even a senior like Elder Zhua was very impressed. Elder Zhua, we've figured out the trick to growing the Xian divine grass. Let's exchange some pointers. Long Lankai chuckled. Chapter 2101. Elder Zhua, this is not my fault. They conspired to deceive me. Li Xuanda was also flustered and exasperated. He really did not expect that things would turn out like this. He was originally confident of victory because even if those seedlings could grow normally, they would not be able to grow so much in 3 months. However, they matured in a heaven-defying manner and grew very well. Little Li, no matter what, you did not participate in the work of the herb garden. Elder Zhua patted Li Xuanda's shoulder and said, How about this, you stay here and continue to plant Xian wing divine grass. Take the remaining 10,000 seed. You just need to plant 1,000 of them. Li Xuanda took the storage bag and quickly calculated in his heart. He suddenly said, Elder Zhua, Qin Huayu and Long Lankai were able to grow such good Xian wing divine grass because they had the help of an expert. After calming down a little, Li Xuanda also confirmed that little Qin was a very talented person in planting medicinal herbs. If Li Xuanda wanted to complete the task of planting, he could only ask Qin Yun for help. Otherwise, he would not be able to complete the task. Expert. Elder Zhuo was slightly surprised and looked at Long Lankai and Qin Huiyu. It's this little Qin. I think his name is Qin Fei and he came from the lower realm. Li Xuanda said, I always thought that he was messing around. I didn't expect that he really mastered a strange technique that can make medicinal herbs grow quickly and well. Long Lankai and Qin Huiyu had previously told Qin Yun that they would recommend him to Myriad World's Divine Court. Qin Yun also thought of going to Myriad World's Divine Court, but after learning that Love God and Thunder God had great power in Myriad World's Divine Court, he decided to temporarily cultivate in seclusion for a period of time. With his current strength, it was far from enough to fight against Love God and Thunder God. Qin Huiyu explained. Little Qin came from the lower realm. He accidentally used the secret technique he obtained to make medicinal herbs grow well. He also shared that secret technique with us. Elder Zhuo, we originally wanted Little Qin to go to Myriad World's Divine Court, but he has his own reasons, so he did not plan to go. Long Lankai also said. Elder Zhuo, this kid's aptitude is extremely poor. He just happens to know how to grow Xian-winged divine grass. Qin Yun quickly replied, I know my own limits, so I won't go to the Myriad Realm's Divine Court for the time being. It won't be too late for me to go to the assessment when I become a profound god. Elder Zhuo nodded and said, You have a good temperament. You don't bite off more than you can chew, and you know how to be down to earth. The godly court of Myriad Worlds looked sacred and full of authority, but the situation inside was not as good as what the outside thought. You've just come from the lower realm. You have neither power nor backing. It's indeed inconvenient for you to compete in that kind of place. Li Xuanda immediately had a hypocritical smile on his face as he walked over and patted Qin Yun on the shoulder. He said with a smile, Elder Zhuo, then Little Qin will stay here and guide me in planting medicinal herbs. After I'm done planting them, you can come and collect them. Little Qin has already joined the Heavenly Evil God sect as a disciple, and the sect leader of the Heavenly Evil God sect is a divine seat god of the Myriad World's Divine Court. In other words, he can be considered as one of us. Qin Yun understood Li Xuanda's intention very well, but he did not show it. He said with a faint smile, I'll stay here and plant the profound winged divine grass. It can cultivate my mind and nurture my character. I'm very happy. That's good, that's good. Elder Zhuo said with a smile, Little Qin, when you become a profound god, I'll recommend you to the Myriad Realm's Divine Court. Then, they exchanged pleasantries. Qin Yun had already made an agreement with Qin Huiyu that when he became a profound god, he would go to the Qin Medicine Royal City and enter the Qin family. Qin Huiyu and Long Lankai could also become disciples of the Medicine God and Pill God this time. Originally, Qin Yun planned to ask Qin Huiyu and Long Lankai to send a letter to the Medicine God and Pill God. However, after careful consideration, he decided to give up this idea. This was because he did not know the situation of the Medicine God and Pill God. If they joined the Love God and Thunder God, they might betray him and implicate Qin Huiyu and Long Lankai. Ever since the Love God was his subordinate and the Thunder God was his disciple, they were the most trustworthy people around him, but they betrayed him later. He had not been in contact with the Pill God and the Medicine God for many years, so he did not understand the current situation of the two brothers. But the Space God was different. When he was the King of Gods, he received help from the Space God. Later, when he became the Floating Cloud Immortal King, he still received help from the Space God. It could be said that they were friends in adversity. Now, Qin Yun also wanted to find the Space God. The space in the Myriad Realm's divine wilderness had changed greatly, so the Space God had nothing to do with it, and the Space God's power would definitely be weakened. It could be said that he was a very sad god. Long Langkai and Qin Huayu followed Elder Zhua and the others. After collecting the profound winged divine grass, they left the heavenly evil district. They had a very precious teleportation talisman that could teleport them to the nearest big city and then wait for the big ship there. Even if it was them, it would take several months to return to the Myriad Realms' divine court. After Qin Huayu and the others left, the herb garden was sealed off. Grand Elder Wei and Second Elder Wei sent people to seal off the entire herb garden, not letting anyone in or out. Qin Yun was currently inside the floating cloud pagoda. Li Xuanda was outside, shouting and cursing, "Qin brat, get out here! Sow the seeds and let the profound winged divine grass mature quickly. I want to rest, we'll talk about it tomorrow," Qin Yun lazily said. Inside the floating cloud pagoda, he took out the soul creation heavenly cauldron and placed his soul inside. He wanted to refine a soul contract. When he entered the heavenly evil district, he signed a soul contract that forbade him from fighting and killing in the heavenly evil district. And he learned that Li Xuanda and the other disciples from the Myriad Realms' divine court did not need to sign a soul contract. In other words, when the time comes, Li Xuanda could attack him, and he could only run away. Qin Yun thoroughly understood what kind of person Li Xuanda was, so he had to be prepared. If Li Xuanda really wanted to attack, then he would not be polite. Damn guy! Li Xuanda vigorously kicked the floating cloud pagoda. Li Xuanda left the herb garden. Grand Elder Wei and Second Elder Wei were outside. When they saw Li Xuanda come out, they quickly came over. "Little Li, what's the situation? What's the secret method that guy used to grow the profound winged divine grass? Didn't you get it?" Grand Elder Wei quickly asked. If they got the secret method, they would be able to grow a lot of profound winged divine grass and achieve meteoric success. "That guy is hiding in a broken square stone building. I can't go in." Li Xuanda cursed in a low voice. "That bastard is not easy to deal with, and he is very cautious. Now that I have a favor to ask of him, I can't use force." Grand Elder Wei sinisterly smiled. "I have a little daughter, she is quite beautiful. I will arrange for her to enter the herb garden and use her beauty to trap him." "That brat, didn't he hand over the secret method because he liked Qin Huayu's beauty?" Second Elder Wei laughed. "This trick is guaranteed to work." Li Xuanda laughed. "Qin Huayu is so noble, she definitely won't let him touch her. If Grand Elder Wei's daughter is a little more proactive, it will definitely work." Grand Elder Wei chuckled a few times. "Grand Elder Wei, how is your daughter? Is she reliable?" Li Xuanda asked. "Don't worry, my daughter is very good at this. She specializes in this kind of thing," Grand Elder Wei said. "She played her husband's whole family in circles before." "She has a husband." Li Xuanda frowned. "It's fine, that happened somewhere else, that Qin brat won't know. Besides, her husband's whole family is dead." Grand Elder Wei laughed. "I was the one who went to collect their bodies. It seems like your daughter is a very vicious woman." Li Xuanda revealed a sinister smile. "That brat is finished. She is in the heavenly evil district. I will immediately send someone to bring her here." Grand Elder Wei quickly said. "All right, I will go and talk to her about the details." Li Xuanda was also secretly wary of Grand Elder Wei's daughter. He didn't want to be eaten alive. In one night, Qin Yun refined the soul contract power in his soul. This made him feel much more relieved. Early in the morning, he walked out of the floating cloud pagoda and saw a woman wearing a pink dress. Her cold face is extremely beautiful, giving people a feeling that although she is cold, she is also very delicate. Especially when she looked at Qin Yun, there was a trace of tenderness in her cold and clear beautiful eyes when they flickered. The woman was waiting outside the floating cloud pagoda. She saw Qin Yun come out, bit her lips and hesitated. "Miss, who asked you to come?" Qin Yun asked. He could tell with a glance that this woman is a late-stage true god. It's my father and young Master Li, They asked me to come. The woman in pink bit her lips and did not continue speaking. Qin Yun frowned and said, "Who is your father?" The woman in pink said in low voice, "Grand Elder Wei. He asked me to serve young Master Qin," he said. "I will do whatever young master wants me to do. I don't need to be served." Qin Yun said with smile, "You can go back. Young master, where did I not do well enough?" The woman in pink frowned. "If you are not satisfied with me, I will be punished when I return." "What is your name?" Qin Yun asked. "Wei Jie." "Young master, you can just call me Little Jie." Wei Jie faintly sighed. "I am truly a woman with a hard life, always being used as a tool." "Tool?" Qin Yun asked doubtfully. "Why do you feel that way?" Wei Jie's expression turned cold as she said, "My father always wants me to use my body to help him achieve his goal. Otherwise, he will punish me. He has made me do this many times." "Don't worry, I won't touch you." Qin Yun smiled slightly. "I will also let you stay in the medicine garden. Young Master Qin, I have a purpose for coming here. I hope you can understand me." Wei Jie said, "I can understand. I've seen this kind of thing many times." Qin Yun nodded. "Young Master Qin is truly a good person. But unfortunately, you have been targeted by young Master Li and my father this time." Wei Jie sighed lightly. Qin Yun said, "Where's Li Xuanda? I previously agreed with him to plant medicinal herbs today." Chapter 2102. Qin Yun took the bag of seeds and began sowing. He is not afraid that Li Xuanda will make a move now because it will take a lot of time to plant the Xian Wing divine grass. If Li Xuanda can't plant it, he can forget about returning to the Myriad Realms divine court. This matter concerns his future, so he doesn't dare to provoke Qin Yun. Wei Jie just stood at the same place and watched Qin Yun sow the seeds from afar. She did not go over to help nor did she say anything. However, she stood there alone, giving people a feeling of pitiful loneliness, making people feel pity for her. When Qin Yun was burying the seeds, Ling Yun'er said with a smile, "Xiao Yun, that Li Xuanda is really something. He actually used a honey trap to get your secret technique. Although the beauty they sent is beautiful, her level is too low." "Is that so?" Qin Yun faintly smiled in his heart. "That girl is really pitiful. She has been used by her father many times. Moreover, she also admitted that she was often betrayed by her father. She must have seen that you are not bad, so she confessed this matter. She must have had enough of being manipulated." Ling Yun'er sighed and said, "Xiao Yun, then help her." Qin Yun sowed the seeds and said with a smile, "Yun'er, you are too young." Ling Yun'er asked doubtfully, "What? Why do you say that about me?" Qin Yun said, "Li Xuanda and the others found this Wei Jie. Her level is extremely high and her methods are also very rare. She did not directly throw herself into my arms, but she really wants to cultivate feelings with me." "How do you know?" Ling Yun'er asked. "She said that she is very miserable, but she is a late-stage true god. Moreover, when I used my heavenly eye to check her, I found that there are at least a few very powerful divine talismans in her body. Even Li Xuanda doesn't have those kind of divine talismans." Qin Yun said. Ling Yun'er immediately understood. This woman is very good at dealing with men. She will improvise according to different men. Qin Yun said, "Moreover, she is definitely a ruthless character. She kills without batting an eye and eats people without spitting out bones." Ling Yun'er was startled and said, "Xiao Yun, does that mean that she really came here to obtain your secret technique?" And she told half-truth and half-lies about her situation, so it seems that she is very trustworthy. Qin Yun said, "I suspect that after this matter is completed, she will obtain great benefits. After all, it is a secret technique to grow Xian Wing divine grass." Ling Yun'er said with a smile, "As expected of a palace king, he is actually so vigilant." Qin Yun laughed self-deprecatingly. I have also suffered losses. Back then, the love god had been hiding by my side for so many years. His methods were truly brilliant. Compared to the love god, this Wei Jie is too tender. Then how are you going to deal with this woman? Ling Yun'er asked. Wearing a smile on your face, talking to her about everything but keeping your distance. Qin Yun chuckled and said, with her level, she is far from being able to deal with me. In just a day, Qin Yun buried all the seeds. He did it very seriously because he already treated these Xian Yi divine grass as his own. Therefore, he had to plant them very seriously. After planting, Wei Jie naturally walked over and praised Qin Yun for his hard work. Then, she found a topic to chat with Qin Yun. Qin Yun pretended to be very interested in her topic, and the two of them chatted very congenially. While chatting, Wei Jie was very lively and cheerful, as though she had met a confidant. However, she maintained a distance from Qin Yun and did not do anything else. At night, Qin Yun was in the floating cloud pagoda, processing a large number of Xian Yi divine grass seed. After the grass seeds were boiled in very hot water, they actually tasted very good and even a bit sweet. Yang Yang and Mo, these two little foodies, ate bowl after bowl. Qin Yun also ate some and discovered that it was indeed very helpful in cultivating the divine profound Tao image. If it was refined into a pill, the effect would definitely be even better. I wonder how many grass seeds would be needed to refine a pill. Qin Yun has a lot of grass seeds in his hands. 10,000 Xian Yi divine grass. There are hundreds of thousands of grass seeds. With so many grass seeds, it is definitely not possible to refine one seed into a pill. I have so many grass seeds in my hands, I'll use a bit more to try. Qin Yun took 10,000 grass seeds and placed them into the Dan transformation heavenly furnace. Then, he processed some divine flame leaves and added them in. The reason why divine flame leaves are so useful is mainly because they can absorb a lot of 9 sun divine power and gather a large amount of sun, moon and stars power to grow. Only by adding the divine universe golden stone would there be a reaction. Only Qin Yun knows this secret. What the Dan transformation heavenly furnace absorbs is the power of the divine universe golden stone, and it is released through the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation. This kind of energy can make the effect of the divine flame leaves even better. The Dan transformation heavenly furnace automatically operated and began to condense the pill. It didn't take long before it stopped. What's going on? Qin Yun said with a frown. He looked inside the Dan transformation heavenly furnace and saw that it did not condense into a pill, only a drop of white liquid. Without enough materials, it would be impossible to condense a pill. Qin Yun is secretly alarmed. He never expected that he would need to consume so many grass seeds. Could it be that their Xian Yi divine pill needs to be refined with other medicinal ingredients? Qin Yun pondered and then continued to add in the grass seeds. He felt that the refining method of the Xian Yi divine pill, refined by the pill god, was definitely different from his. This time, he added 10,000 grass seed. After he finished, he began to operate the Dan transformation heavenly furnace. The Dan transformation heavenly furnace's operation speed is very fast. This can be seen mainly from the energy it absorbed. A few hours later, a very small pill was finally condensed inside the Dan transformation heavenly furnace. It was slightly bigger than a grain of rice. I've finally refined it. Qin Yun looked at the pill and felt that it is a bit small. Xiao Yun, isn't this going to consume too many grass seeds? Ling Yun'er said, 10,000 grass seeds are needed to refine one pill. Qin Yun said with a smile, it doesn't matter, I have a lot of grass seeds in my hands. Maybe with this kind of refining method, the effect of the Xian Yi divine pill refined will definitely be very good. He swallowed the very small pill and immediately felt a strange energy erupt from his body. Let's refine the heavenly lion first. Qin Yun began to guide the energy and poured it into the little heavenly lion. Previously, the little heavenly lion was only a kind of soul-body existence. Now that it wants to evolve and become a divine Xian Dao image, it will become even stronger and be able to erupt with even stronger divine power. The strength of a divine man's divine power mainly depends on how strong the divine Xian Dao image is. The divine Xian Dao image I condense should be very strong, so I need to absorb a lot of energy. What surprised Qin Yun is that the energy brought by the Xian Yi divine pill is very difficult to quickly refine. There is a lot of energy in the pill, but it is impossible to refine it in a short time. It seems like it will take at least 10 days to completely refine this divine pill. Qin Yun closed his eyes and began meditating. At daybreak, he walked out of the floating cloud pagoda, drew runes and inserted them into the ground. Then he guided the water of the divine spring to water the ground. Wei Jie entered the medicine garden. Inside a small house, she saw the runes Qin Yun drew and is secretly astonished. Because it is the method of inscription do technique. After Qin Yun finished, Wei Jie walked out of the house and went to chat with Qin Yun. Qin Yun only catered to her, he even showed a bit of interest in her. Wei Jie still kept her distance from Qin Yun. She showed a feeling that it would be very easy to pursue her. After Qin Yun and Wei Jie chatted for a while, he entered the floating cloud pagoda to cultivate. At this time, Wei Jie also walked out of the medicine garden and went to meet up with Li Xuanda and her father. At the east side of the heavenly evil god sect, inside Great Elder Wei's luxurious mansion, Wei Jie, Li Xuanda and her father Great Elder Wei met in a secret room. Inscription do technique. It seems like this person is a very extraordinary person in the lower realms, Great Elder Wei said with frown. Xiao Jie, how is your progress now? Li Xuanda asked. Not bad, he is a bit interested in me. This person seems to be the kind of person who enjoys peace and quiet. Wei Jie said with smile. He likes to talk to me and is very polite to me. Great Elder Wei said. Xiao Jie, can you quickly get your hands on his secret technique? Li Xuanda nodded and said, if we can get our hands on the secret technique, we can plant it ourselves and quickly get rid of this guy. Can you find an inscription do master? Wei Jie asked. No problem, we must get his runes first. My Li family has an inscription do master. Li Xuanda said. Wei Jie said, to be honest, although this person seems to be interested in me, he might not necessarily hand over the secret technique to me. Great Elder Wei said, why do you say that? This person will not turn into a stupid pig when he sees a woman. Wei Jie shook her head and said, if he knows that I want his secret technique, he will definitely be very vigilant. Then how did Qin Huayu and the others get his secret technique? Li Xuanda asked. I suspect that Qin Huayu and Long Langkai used something to exchange with him. Wei Jie said, this is a kind of exchange of benefits. Great Elder Wei said, Xiao Jie, do you have any ideas? I propose a deal with him. You think of a way to satisfy his request. Wei Jie said, if you want it to be faster, this is the only way. Li Xuanda's eyes flickered, he said with sneer. This is easy, as long as you satisfy his request, then get rid of him and snatch it back. Whatever happens after that is up to you. In short, this is the fastest way. Wei Jie said with smile. I am currently dating Protector Su's son, I hope he doesn't know about this. Protector Su, follow the sect leader to investigate the whereabouts of the Dragon Pearl, I might be able to find some clues. Protector Su's son? I have seen that guy, his future is boundless. Li Xuanda said with smile. Looks like I have to curry favor with him, he is the sect leader's disciple. After all, the sect leader of the heavenly evil god sect has a god position, no matter how bad he is, he can't be that bad. This also made Li Xuanda very envious. Of course, I haven't succeeded yet. When the time comes, I hope young Master Li can help me raise my status. Wei Jie said with charming smile. Alright, we will help each other. Li Xuanda repeatedly replied. Then I will go back. Wei Jie promptly left and returned to the medicine garden. Although he is cultivating in the floating cloud pagoda, he is very clear about the movements of the medicine garden. He knows how long Wei Jie has been gone. Xiao Yun, this woman is very difficult to deal with. Do you think she will use some kind of trick to trick you? Ling Yuner also discovered Wei Jie's brilliance in these 2 days. Chapter 2103. Wei Jie returned and walked back and forth outside the floating cloud pagoda. She wanted to enter the floating cloud pagoda, but when she entered, she was blocked by a very strong barrier. So she could only walk around the floating cloud pagoda, waiting for Qin Yun to come out. Wei Jie looked very polite to Qin Yun on the surface, but in her heart she hated Qin Yun. She thought that it wouldn't take long for her to take down Qin Yun. But after coming into contact with Qin Yun, she found that this man was not easy to deal with. Wei Jie also knew that Qin Yun had mastered a very brilliant secret technique that could quickly mature a hard-to-grow herb like the Xian Yi divine grass. After waiting for a few hours, Wei Jie didn't see Qin Yun come out. She could only curse in her heart and then walked back to her hut. Just as she returned to her hut, she suddenly heard someone knocking on the door of the herb garden. Since Wei Jie came, the barrier of the herb garden was controlled by Qin Yun. If others wanted to enter or leave, they needed to get his permission. Qin Yun was cultivating in the floating cloud pagoda. He also knew that someone was knocking on the door, but he didn't go to open the door because he didn't know anyone here. If someone was in trouble, Wei Jie would go to help. Wei Jie originally wanted to have a good rest, but seeing someone knocking on the door and Qin Yun not going out, she had to go to open the door. Unknowingly, the herb garden seemed to be completely under Qin Yun's control. Wei Jie was secretly surprised when she noticed this. Li Xuanda and the elders seemed to be very helpless and couldn't stop Qin Yun from controlling the herb garden. This was the benefit of mastering an extraordinary secret technique. Li Xuanda needed mature Xian Yi divine grass, and only Qin Yun could grow it, so he could only tolerate Qin Yun. This also made him want to quickly get the secret technique and then immediately get rid of Qin Yun. When Wei Jie opened the door, Qin Yun controlled a wisp of his divine sense to fly out to see who came. After opening the door, it was an extraordinarily handsome young man in a purple gold robe. Beside him were 2 extremely flirtatious women. Young Master Su. Wei Jie was surprised, then revealed a charming smile and said softly, "Young Master Su, why are you here?" When Qin Yun was in the slaughterhouse, he heard about this young Master Su. He was the son of Great Protector Su, and his name was Su Liguang. He was one of the few disciples of the Heavenly Demon sect leader. Thus, Su Liguang was someone that many elders and nobles in the Heavenly Evil God sect wanted to curry favor with. "Little Jie, I learned that you were in this herb garden, so I came to see you." Su Liguang reached out to touch Wei Jie's face as he spoke. Wei Jie didn't stop him because in her eyes, Su Liguang was a person of extremely high status. Even though there were many women around Su Liguang, she still wanted to stick close to him. "Young Master Su, can we talk further?" Wei Jie quickly closed the door and said in a low voice. Su Liguang looked at the 2 coquettish women beside him and smiled. "It's all right, they are my female slaves, we're all on the same side." "Little Jie, what are you doing in this medicinal garden? How come I didn't know that you know how to grow medicinal herbs?" Wei Jie originally did not wish for Su Liguang to know that she was here to seduce Qin Yun, but now that Su Liguang had exposed her, she had another plan. "Young Master Su, what little Jie is about to say is very important. You must listen carefully. This matter concerns your future," Wei Jie said with a serious expression. Su Liguang nodded. Soon after, Wei Jie told Su Liguang about how she was arranged by Great Elder Wei and Li Xuanda to confuse Qin Yun and obtain the secret technique. After Su Liguang finished listening, he said with a sneer, Your father and that Li Xuanda are really useless. They can only use this kind of method. Young Master Su, the reason why I agreed to them is because I also want to obtain the secret technique and then give it to you so that you can obtain the sect master's appreciation and raise your position in the sect master's heart. Wei Jie smiled faintly. I'm not doing this for them but for you. At this moment, Su Liguang also wanted to obtain the secret technique. He said with a smile, Little Jie, you are truly worthy of being the woman that I, Su Liguang, have set my eyes on. Although you haven't succeeded yet, I want to reward you now. What reward do you want? Young Master Su, I only want to be your woman. Wei Jie looked at the two coquettish female slaves beside him and said with slight anger, You have me, isn't that enough? Enough, enough. Su Liguang laughed repeatedly. His hands suddenly placed on the heads of the two female slaves and shot out a black energy. Whoosh! The two female slaves instantly turned into black gas and dissipated. In order to make Wei Jie happy, Su Liguang killed the two female slaves. An incomparably charming smile immediately appeared on Wei Jie's face. This Wei Jie is indeed a very powerful woman. That Su Liguang is also a ruthless person. Ling Yun'er could also see everything that happened outside the medicine garden's gate. Qin Yun was not surprised at all. He had long seen through what kind of woman Wei Jie was. Su Lang, I heard that you went out with your father, Great Protector Su, to search for the Dragon Pearl. Has there been any progress? Wei Jie asked. Progress, no. This is mainly because Thunder God asked my master to look for it. Thunder God said that in this 8 Evil Ridge, there is a divine cosmic thunder dragon pearl. If I find it, my master's position in the Myriad Realms divine court will rise by a lot and we will also soar. Su Liguang said with a smile. Qin Yun was secretly alarmed. The 8 Evil Ridge actually has a dragon pearl. The divine cosmic thunder dragon pearl is in the 8 Evil Ridge, and the sect master of the heavenly evil god cult is secretly searching for it. Su Lang, do you have any good ideas that can help us quickly get Qin Fei's secret technique? Wei Jie said in a low voice. Qin Yun secretly laughed in his heart. These two people actually thought that he was a dead man and would not discover the situation outside the medicine garden. But then again, his floating cloud pagoda is still quite far from the gate. Come to my house and talk in detail. I have a way. Su Liguang quickly flew away with Wei Jie. At this time, Qin Yun was thinking about how to get the divine cosmic thunder dragon pearl. Xiao Yun, that dog couple is very powerful. If they conspire, they will definitely come up with a very powerful method. Ling Yun'er was somewhat worried about Qin Yun. Don't worry about that, Qin Yun said with a smile. In another 3 months, when this batch of Xian divine grass matures, I will stop. He stayed in the medicine garden to find a way to find out the details of the sect master and see what kind of god he is. To his surprise, the sect master turned out to be Thunder God's subordinate. One must know that Thunder God was once Qin Yun's disciple and had betrayed him. Therefore, Qin Yun subconsciously classified the sect master as his enemy. A few days later, Qin Yun came out of the floating cloud pagoda and began to take care of the medicinal seedlings. Wei Jie had already returned. She had been waiting for Qin Yun to come out for the past few days. Early this morning, she saw Qin Yun coming out of the floating cloud pagoda, but she did not immediately go over. Instead, she waited for Qin Yun to finish taking care of the medicinal seedlings before slowly walking towards Qin Yun. She handed Qin Yun an invitation and said with a smile, Young Master Qin, this is an invitation from Great Protector Su's son, Su Liguang. He wants to invite you to his mansion to attend a banquet. I want to take care of these medicinal seedlings. I don't want to leave the medicine garden. I'm really sorry. Qin Yun did not accept the invitation and tactfully declined. Young Master Qin, there will be many great figures of the heavenly evil sect attending. They will discuss the future development of the heavenly evil district or exchange many important matters. Wei Jie quickly said, also, young Master Su will talk a lot about the divine cosmic thunder dragon pearl. This is something many people want to know. The secret of the divine cosmic thunder dragon pearl. Qin Yun did not want to go because he knew that this banquet was very likely to target him. He looked at the time and saw that it was 3 days later. In another 3 days, he would be able to cultivate a divine profound Tao image and step into the early stage of the true God realm. At that time, he would have enough power to face the profound God. Will Li Xuanda participate? Qin Yun asked. Li Xuanda, my father and second uncle will all participate. Wei Jie said. Young Master Su is the sect leader's disciple. Maybe the sect leader will also appear. This was a chance to see the heavenly evil sect leader. Qin Yun nodded and said, all right then, I will participate. Thank young Master Su for me. Qin Yun took the invitation and returned to the floating cloud pagoda. He had not completely refined the Xian-Yi divine pill he had eaten before. He had to speed up his refinement and let himself break through. He had to cultivate a divine profound Tao image first. With a divine profound Tao image, the absolute yang divine power released would increase by a lot. When necessary, the divine profound Tao image could also erupt with a very strong power. The divine profound Tao he cultivated was like that little heavenly lion. It could erupt with the fierce power of the heavenly Tao. Coupled with the nether sun totem, its power would definitely be extremely strong. Coupled with the equipment in his hand, even if the banquet was a trap, he would not be afraid. 3 days later, Qin Yun has already cultivated a divine profound Tao image. 9 Sun Heavenly Lion Tao image, if released, its power will definitely be very strong. Qin Yun looked at the heavenly lion beside the nether sun. The heavenly lion is not angry, it has a very strong ferocious aura. After the absolute yang divine power is transformed by the heavenly lion, it will become even more ferocious and berserk. Qin Yun changed into a light blue inscription master robe. Li Xuanda, Great Elder Wei and the others all know that he is an inscription master from the lower realm. So when he went to the banquet, he directly wore this robe to show his identity. He and Wei Jie sat in the same carriage and set off in the evening. Inside the carriage, Wei Jie's expression became somewhat ice-cold. Qin Fei, I told you before that I came to the medicine garden with a purpose, Wei Jie said coldly. Her attitude towards Qin Yun is completely different from before. Qin Yun is not surprised, he can vaguely sense that Wei Jie hates him very much. I remember you said that. Qin Yun nodded. At the banquet you must conduct yourself with dignity. Don't talk nonsense. Moreover, there really is nothing going on between us. Wei Jie said again in cold voice. Wei Jie is worried that Qin Yun will ruin her plan to climb up the big tree that is Su Liguang. Moreover, she is very certain that Su Liguang will obtain that secret technique during the banquet. Most importantly, if Qin Yun hands over the secret technique, his death will come. Chapter 2104. Back when he was delivering the invitation, Wei Jie was still talking and laughing with him. He was not surprised by Wei Jie's current attitude. With a glance, he could tell that Wei Jie had gotten close to Su Liguang. She was worried that Qin Yun would ruin their relationship, so she tried to distance herself from him. I won't talk nonsense, I just went there to freeload, Qin Yun said. Qin Fei, I know that you've mastered a very powerful secret technique that allows you to quickly grow the profound winged divine grass, but even so, you're still far inferior to young Master Su. Wei Jie said, I'm already young Master Su's lover. If you're smart, you'll behave yourself during the banquet. Qin Yun remained silent. He would definitely behave himself tonight. He was afraid that young Master Su would not behave himself and force him to make a move. When Wei Jie saw that Qin Yun did not speak, she said, "Qin Fei, if you know what's good for you, you'd better offer the secret technique to young Master Su now and become his subordinate. According to what I know, if Li Xuanda obtains the secret technique in your hands, he will definitely kill you." With Qin Yun's deity realm cultivation, facing a profound god like Li Xuanda, he didn't even have the strength to fight back. Furthermore, he didn't have any power or influence. If he was killed in the heavenly evil god sect, no one would stand up for him. "I'll think about it," Qin Yun said indifferently. "You don't have time to think about it," Wei Jie said. "Tonight, young Master Su will definitely ask you for that secret technique. You can only give it to him or not. You'd better offer the secret technique to me now." The carriage was very quiet. Qin Yun looked at Wei Jie with a calm expression. At that moment, he was seriously considering it. He was not considering if he should hand over the mystic technique, but if he should kill Wei Jie. At that moment, Wei Jie was no different from a dead person to Qin Yun. Wei Jie was only a late true god. Even though she managed to cultivate 3 profound God Tao images, Qin Yun's divine profound Tao image was equivalent to 3 of hers. Moreover, Qin Yun's equipment made Wei Jie unable to even struggle. "We'll talk about it when the time comes." After careful consideration, Qin Yun gave up on the idea of killing Wei Jie here. He wanted to attend the banquet. Only then could he kill those who wanted to kill him. If he killed Wei Jie here, he could only escape, which would alert the enemy. If it was during the banquet, he would be able to kill as many people as possible. If everything went smoothly, he would have enough time to return to the herb garden and collect all the medicinal seedlings. Wei Jie was wearing a luxurious red dress. She smiled disdainfully. "When you see young Master Su, you will know how outstanding he is. Compared to him, you are nothing." "Can you tell me how outstanding he is here?" Qin Yun said with a smile. He only wanted to understand what kind of person Su Liguang was. "He is profound God, he has the 8 fire divine veins in his body, he has 3 middle-grade divine weapons in his hands, and he is the sect leader's proudest disciple. The sect master comes from the divine court of the myriad worlds and is a god with a divine seat," Wei Jie said proudly. In her eyes, Su Liguang had a bright future and was extremely outstanding. He was also a man that she was very satisfied with. Qin Yun's expression did not change because in his eyes, Su Liguang was just a fart. Not long after, the large carriage arrived outside Su Manor. Wei Jie was the first to walk out, followed by Qin Yun. After arriving at the entrance of the Su Manor, Wei Jie ordered someone who looked like a housekeeper to lead Qin Yun into a luxurious and spacious hall while she went to another place. After Qin Yun arrived at the hall, he casually found a seat and sat down. He came to the banquet to hear about the divine universe Thunder Dragon Pearl and then see what kind of god the mysterious sect leader was. Qin Yun casually found a seat in the hall and patiently waited for Su Liguang to appear. Not long after, the wide golden walkway in the middle of the hall suddenly lit up. At the entrance of the hall, a group of luxuriously dressed people with extraordinary temperaments walked in. They released a very strong, profound god aura. There were middle-aged, old and young men and women. There were 2,000 to 3,000 people in the hall. All of them were famous figures in the heavenly evil god sect or young elite. When they saw the group of people walking in, they immediately stood up. Their eyes were filled with envy and reverence as they stared at the group of people. The hall was very quiet at this moment. Everyone was looking at the group of people. Qin Yun secretly curled his lips. He thought that the sect leader had come, but he didn't expect that it would only be Great Protector Su, Great Elder Wei, Second Elder Wei, and a few other elders. They brought their own juniors, and when they entered, they released their powerful profound god aura. They walked on a bright golden path, and it was very ostentatious. This banquet was hosted by Su Liguang, and he was also among the group of people. He was dressed in luxurious robes, holding Wei Jie's hand as he walked in behind his father. Wei Jie's face was filled with pride, and her eyes were filled with arrogance. When she walked in, she also glanced at Qin Yun. Li Xuanda was also among the group of people who came in, because they were the main characters here today. This group of people were the most powerful figures in the Heavenly Evil District other than the Heavenly Evil Sect leader. Qin Yun felt that it was a little funny because amongst that group of people the strongest was only a profound god, and there wasn't even a single great god. It was rare to see great gods in the Heavenly Evil District, and it made Qin Yun wonder if those great gods didn't want to stay in this ghastly place. Great Protector Su was a burly middle-aged man with a full beard. When he walked to the front, he gave a polite greeting to everyone before toasting. Next, it was Great Elder Wei and the other elders who exchanged some pleasantries. Finally, it was Su Liguang's turn to speak. After Su Liguang finished his pleasantries, he smiled. Everyone, an extraordinary person has come to our Heavenly Evil Sect, and I believe everyone has heard of it. When he finished, his gaze fell on Qin Yun, who was seated at the back, and he spoke out, "Expert Qin Fei, you're an esteemed guest of mine, Su Liguang. Can you give me some face and sit with me?" After a brief pondering, Qin Yun stood up and walked up with a smile. The upper echelons of the Heavenly Evil Sect had heard of the herb garden, so they weren't unfamiliar with Qin Fei's name. Li Xuanda looked a little uneasy as he cursed Wei Jie in his heart. Of course, he knew that Wei Jie was secretly working with Su Liguang to obtain the secret technique in Qin Yun's hands. Qin Yun walked down the aisle. When he reached the middle of the hall, 5 strong men wearing green clothes suddenly jumped out. Their faces are like green jade. There are many small flags stuck on their bodies. Those flags seem to have been inserted into their bodies, and each of them held a large flag in their hands. After they came out, they surrounded Qin Yun and stuck the large flags into the ground, causing the hall to shake. Everyone quickly stood up in surprise. This was out of Qin Yun's expectations because he didn't expect Su Liguang to be so direct and use a flag array to trap him. The 5 green jade-like people had small flags stuck on their bodies and their bodies were covered in poison. With a glance, Qin Yun could tell that these 5 robust men were poisonous flag array puppets. The flag array puppets had flags stuck on their bodies. When needed, the person who set up the array would control the puppets to suddenly appear and set up the flag array. "Young Master Su, aren't I your esteemed guest? Is this how you treat your esteemed guest?" Qin Yun asked expressionlessly. He is not afraid of this poisonous flag array. To the Nine-Yang Palace King, this flag array is no different from paper. The old fellows who were able to attend the banquet have all seen the wind and waves. They immediately calmed down and understood what Su Liguang and the others wanted to do. Su Liguang and the others wanted to snatch the secret technique of growing the Xian Wing divine grass. If they could obtain the secret technique, the Heavenly Evil God cult's position in the Myriad Realms divine court would rise by a lot. Surnamed Qin, this is our very powerful 5-poison divine formation. For us to use such a powerful divine formation to entertain you, it is enough to show that we attach great importance to you, our esteemed guest. Su Liguang laughed loudly, then pulled Wei Jie and walked towards Qin Yun. Great Protector Su, Great Elder Wei, Second Elder Wei and Li Xuanda also walked over. The rules of the Heavenly Evil God cult are too childish. They actually used such a despicable method to snatch the secret technique from my hands. Young Master Su, can you guarantee that today's matter will not be spread out? Qin Yun smiled. The Heavenly Evil God cult's mission is to help the devils in the 8 Evil Ridge turn over a new leaf. But Great Protector Su and the other higher-ups of the cult actually used such despicable methods to snatch it. Qin Fei, I captured you today because you once tried to take advantage of me. Wei Jie immediately cursed. Su Liguang is my fiancé. The reason he held this banquet today is also to capture a pervert like you. Great Elder Wei reacted and immediately said, Qin Fei is a despicable person. He grasped a secret technique to grow the Xian Wing divine grass and used it to threaten me. He made me send my beloved daughter to accompany him in growing it. I never thought that he would be a beast in disguise and try to take advantage of little Jie. Fortunately, Su Liguang came in time. Otherwise, I would have already been defiled by this bastard. As Wei Jie spoke, she shed tears of anger and pain. Then, she leaned into Su Liguang's embrace and acted very well. Great Protector Su's expression turned gloomy as he shouted, Qin brat, I'm the Great Protector of the Heavenly Evil God cult. My job is to protect the rules of the Heavenly Evil God cult. You broke the rules and used the 5 poison divine array to deal with you. You deserve it. At this moment there was also a large group of people who were criticizing and cursing Qin Yun. Qin Yun has seen this kind of slanderous trick many times, so he wasn't surprised at all. However, he found it strange that this group of people seemed to be acting on the spot. Before they made their move, they actually came up with a reason. This group of people still lacked experience in doing this kind of thing. Qin brat, you have the secret technique to grow divine grass. If you hand over the secret technique and sincerely apologize, we can let you leave the heavenly evil region alive. Great Protector Su said. My father is very magnanimous to give you a way out. Otherwise, you will have to suffer the pain of the 5 poison devouring heart for 100 years before being executed. Su Liguang said coldly. The father and son echoed each other, making the matter of seizing by force sound righteous. Chapter 2105. After Qin Yun finished listening to them, he looked at Li Xuanda and said with a smile, Li Xuanda, if I die, no one will be able to grow the Xian Wing divine grass. If you return to the Myriad Realms divine court, not only will you be punished, you will also miss the opportunity to become a disciple of the medicine god and the pill god. Just now, Li Xuanda had cursed the Su father and son, Great Elder Wei and Wei Jie many times in his heart. Now that he saw Qin Yun threatening him, he began to curse Qin Yun in his heart again. Yes, if Qin Yun was finished, then he, Li Xuanda, could only pack up and scram back to the Li family. Moreover, he would bring shame to the Li family and be ridiculed by the other disciples of the family. Brother Li, don't worry. A despicable person like him will definitely be afraid of death. If he is unwilling to hand over the secret technique, then we will use the 5 poison punishment on him. Under the pain of the 5 poison devouring heart, he will definitely hand over the secret technique. Su Liguang hurriedly said. The reason why Li Xuanda was able to enter the Myriad Realms divine court was mainly because of the Li family. The Li family had some ability, so Su Liguang was quite worried about this. Then I hope you can handle it well and not affect my future. Li Xuanda's expression eased up a little. He had heard of the might of the 5 poison divine formation. Ordinary people would not be able to withstand it. Qin Yun was inside the 5 poison divine formation, so it would be troublesome for him to break it. If he wanted to break it, those people would definitely attack him from the outside. Therefore, he dispelled the idea of breaking the formation and sat cross-legged on the spot. He closed his eyes and said, Then activate the 5 poison divine formation. Even if I die, I won't hand over the secret technique to you. Everyone raised their heads in anticipation, wanting to see what would happen when the 5 poison divine formation tortured people. Seeing others being tortured made many people look forward to it. You asked for it. Su Liguang's expression turned cold as he said in a deep voice. Divine formation, open. Great Protector Su laughed sinisterly. The great formation opened and all kinds of poisonous mist transformed into lightning and entered Qin Yun's body. After Qin Yun felt the lightning poison enter his body, he immediately controlled the Nether Sun and released an extremely strong devouring power. All the poison was devoured, dissolved and purified by the Nether Sun. This kind of crappy thing is far inferior to the heavenly law divine realm. Qin Yun snickered in his heart. What kind of suffering had he not suffered before? He had even seen poison formations that were stronger than this one. But he pretended to be in pain, rolling on the ground and screaming. Seeing his pained expression, Su Liguang immediately laughed out loud. Great Protector Su, Great Elder Su, Wei Jie, and the others were all wearing sinister grins on their faces. Li Xuanda was very worried that Qin Yun would be tortured to death. Su Liguang sneered, "This is the consequence of touching my woman. Surnamed Qin, now you know how terrifying the 5 poisons divine formation is, right? If you don't hand over the secret technique, you will be tortured for 100 years. When everyone in the hall saw Qin Yun's pained expression and thought of being tortured for 100 years, they couldn't help but feel their hairs stand on end. How terrifying was that? Actually, Qin Yun was not in pain at all. He was just pretending. He struggled and twitched in pain for a while. Suddenly, his eyes rolled back and he lay on the ground, no longer screaming. Black foam and black blood came out of his mouth. His skin was black and emitting black gas. With one look, it was obvious that he was deeply poisoned and was already half dead. Qin Yun's body twitched slightly. It was a tragic sight to behold. Everyone secretly shook their heads. At the same time, they are very afraid of the 5 poisons divine formation. This guy is just a little god. It's normal for him to faint in less than 2 hours. Second Elder Wei said with sneer. Great Protector Su said with smile, "This is for the best. I can use soul-searching technique on him and search his soul's memories to find the secret technique." When Li Xuanda heard this, his taut expression immediately relaxed a lot. As long as he obtained the secret technique and helped him grow enough Xian Wing divine grass, he would be able to survive this tribulation. Great Protector Su controlled the 5 poisons divine formation to close. The 5 poison puppets were also stored in the storage magic tool. Qin Yun, who was lying on the ground, suddenly recovered his eyes and a very strong divine power surged out of his body. Everyone in the surroundings immediately turned pale with fright, especially the Su father and son. They never expected that a person who was ravaged by the 5 poisons divine formation would still have such a powerful and vigorous divine power. Wei Jie is very cunning. The few divine talismans hidden in her body suddenly activated and formed a very strong barrier. Just now, she felt the intense killing intent that Qin Yun burst out with. Qin Yun's first target is not Wei Jie but Su Liguang. Su Liguang is a profound god, but he is very young and his status is extremely high. Qin Yun originally thought that he would be able to find out a few things about the Thunder Dragon Pearl in this banquet. He never expected that Su Liguang and the others would make their move so quickly. Therefore, he is very disappointed. No matter what, someone must pay the price for his disappointment in this banquet. The moment Qin Yun jumped up, a spear suddenly appeared in Great Protector Su's hand and fiercely stabbed forward. The tip of the spear is black and emitted a sinister green poison gas. Qin Yun used the light transformation Sacred Pupil and his body flashed like light. At the same time, he took profound steps and strangely circled to Su Liguang's side like a ghost. Boom! The heaven-severing finger power that Qin Yun had been condensing for a long time burst out. Piercing sky! Heaven-severing 9 fingers, piercing sky. The fierce and oppressive absolute yang divine power was condensed and pierced through. Su Liguang was indeed worthy of being the sect leader's disciple. He had a pretty good protective soft armor on his body. In that moment of danger, a very strong divine barrier appeared on his body. However, Qin Yun's index power was simply too strong. It directly pierced through the barrier, pierced through Su Liguang's body, and shattered the origin divine crystal in his body. The surrounding powerful profound god elders were shocked to the extreme. The divine power that a God Realm fellow could unleash was actually so strong that it could directly injure a young genius of the profound God Realm. What was even more frightening was that even the air shield released by the soft armor was directly broken. Boom! Sensing that there were powerful profound God rushing over from all directions, Qin Yun immediately released an incomparably powerful supergravity domain. As the supergravity domain enveloped the entire hall, everyone immediately felt a majestic and vast power charge down from the top of their head. Boom! 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 The hall instantly collapsed. Before those powerful profound God Elders could even get close to Qin Yun, they were already suppressed to the point that their footsteps slowed down. The other juniors, on the other hand, were struck by the terrifying gravity to the point that they vomited blood. Wei Jie's heart was filled with extreme fear. She never thought that this man, who seemed to enjoy peace, would actually grasp such a terrifying power. In terms of strength and ability, Su Liguang was far inferior to him. Wei Jie was extremely regretful in her heart. If she had known that Qin Yun was so terrifying, she might not have pretended to chase after Qin Yun. Even though she had a few divine talismans protecting her body, she was still pressed down by the gravity to the point of vomiting blood. She was lying on the ground, unable to turn over. The hall collapsed, and everyone was crushed by a large amount of debris. It had to be said that the dozens of powerful profound God Elders here were quite powerful. If they joined hands, they could break through the supergravity. After all, Qin Yun was only at the first level of the divine realm. Facing dozens of old profound goddess, the pressure was indeed quite great. He quickly extended 2 fingers and pointed at Su Liguang. The heaven-extinguishing 9 fingers shot out once again. After pointing out that finger, Qin Yun did not even look at Su Liguang and directly flashed towards the medicine garden. The lower half of Su Liguang's body was hit and turned into flames that splattered everywhere, accompanied by a large amount of shattered stones and tiles. The people in the hall were all covered in dust. When they crawled out of the ruins, they saw the dozens of profound God Elders rushing towards the medicine garden. Li Xuanda crawled out of the ruins with a face full of shock. He never thought that the little god would be so terrifying. Wei Jie stared blankly at the fragments around him. Su Liguang screamed miserably again and again. He only had his upper body left, and the part below his navel had been shattered. Furthermore, the destiny crystal in his body had also exploded. It could be said that he had become a complete cripple, living a life worse than death. The most unbelievable thing was that the person who had beaten Su Liguang, a profound god, into such a state was actually just a little god. Furthermore, he had only used 2 moves, and he had even attacked in front of so many old profound god. "You bunch of idiots, look at what you've done!" Li Xuanda scolded loudly. "I'm going to be screwed by you guys. That guy is finished. This is the heavenly evil god sect. After causing such a huge commotion, the sect leader will definitely appear." Wei Jie said coldly. "No matter what, I won't be able to complete the mission." When Li Xuanda saw Qin Yun running towards the medicine garden, a string of profanities surged up in his heart. "Don't worry, the sect leader will definitely be able to force him to hand over the secret technique." Wei Jie immediately comforted Li Xuanda. Her Su Lang had already been crippled, so she naturally had to find a new good target. She discovered that Li Xuanda was also a good choice. "You're a woman who has thousands of men on top of tens of thousands of men. Get lost." Li Xuanda was very clear what kind of person Wei Jie was. Qin Yun ran towards the medicine garden, and not long after, he returned. The medicine garden had a very strong enchantment. After the enchantment was activated, even those profound god would not be able to attack it easily. Therefore, Qin Yun had enough time to collect the medicinal seedlings. Has the sect leader made his move? Qin Yun was still very calm. He was not afraid of the heavenly evil sect leader. Those old profound goddess were also very shocked. Someone was fighting in the heavenly evil district and was actually not devoured by the soul contract. As long as one entered the heavenly evil district and was not a core disciple of the heavenly evil god sect, they would have to sign a contract and not be allowed to fight in the heavenly evil district. Only the core disciples and upper echelons of the heavenly evil god sect could kill others in the heavenly evil district. Qin Yun had long since removed the contract from his soul. This was not a difficult matter for him at all. In the past few days in the medicine garden, Qin Yun had already collected enough divine spring water and dug a large amount of soil from the ground. Even if he left the medicine garden, he would still be able to plant the Xian-Yi divine grass. When Qin Yun was collecting the medicinal seedlings, a very powerful divine power suddenly enveloped him. The sect leader is here. Great Protector Su shouted excitedly. Sect leader, quickly break through the medicine garden's barrier and get rid of that bastard. Great Elder Wei shouted. Qin Yun had just finished collecting the medicinal seedlings. Boom! The barrier was instantly destroyed by the heavenly evil sect leader. Qin Yun used the light transformation sacred pupil to look at a tall mountain in the distance and instantly arrived at the top of the mountain. Chapter 2106. The dozens of old Xian goddess of the heavenly evil god sect felt relieved after feeling the power of the sect leader. The sect master was very strong, far surpassing these old profound goddess. One must know that the heavenly evil sect leader has a god position and came from the divine court of myriad realms before establishing the heavenly evil god sect here. The other elders and protectors of the heavenly evil god sect were recruited by the sect leader later and not from the divine court of myriad realms. The divine court only provided a lot of pills and cultivation techniques or sent inscription masters to help build the heavenly evil god sect. Sect leader, that bastard will definitely die a horrible death. Great Elder Wei said. We must kill that guy. Great Protector Su's eyes are red with anger because his son Su Liguang has been completely crippled. The other elders recalled the scene of Su Liguang being beaten up and felt a lingering fear in their hearts. They are still incomparably afraid of the strength of that little god. If they faced Qin Yun alone, they would not have a chance of winning. Only by joining forces would they dare to chase after Qin Yun. If that bastard is a profound god, I'm afraid we will all be finished today. Second Elder Wei said in a deep voice. Why is this person so powerful? In the eyes of many people, Su Liguang is a genius. But there is actually a God Realm guy who beat up a profound God Realm genius. Thinking of this, everyone secretly exclaimed in their hearts. This kind of thing is also beyond his understanding. Qin Yun is still in the heavenly evil god sect's villa, using the light transformation sacred pupil to fly in the air. His speed is very fast. Even if the heavenly evil sect leader wants to catch him, it would not be easy. What makes Qin Yun puzzled is that the heavenly evil sect leader is very strong but not as terrifying as he imagined. Does this sect leader really have a god position? It seems like he is just a relatively strong great god. While flying, Qin Yun secretly felt the aura coming from behind him. Xiao Yun, can a great god have a god position? Ling Yuner asked. You were the king of gods back then, you should be more clear about the standard of having a god position, right? If you are lucky, a great god can also obtain a god position. Qin Yun nodded. Similar to my previous guess, the god position in the 8 Evil Mountain range is relatively weak, otherwise they would not have been sent to this damned place. The environment in the 8 Evil Ridge was not very good. In the Myriad Realms Divine Court, if one had no power or influence, being sent here was equivalent to being banished to the Cold Palace. It didn't take long for Qin Yun to reach the boundary of the heavenly evil god sect's villa. At the boundary of the barrier, Qin Yun executed the penetration divine ability and left the heavenly fiend sect's manor. The heavenly demon sect leader, who was chasing closely behind, was shocked, but he also passed through the barrier in pursuit. One of his disciples was crippled, and he even caused such a huge commotion in the heavenly evil god sect's manner. As the sect leader, if he didn't capture the culprit and bring him back, he would definitely lose his prestige. Seeing the sect leader and Qin Yun fly out of the villa, the dozens of old profound gods all cried out in alarm. They started to worry again. If the sect master didn't catch that person, he would definitely be laughed at. The heavenly evil zone is very large. Qin Yun is currently flying towards an uninhabited forest area. After arriving at the forest, the heavenly demon sect leader finally made his move. The great god was powerful, and this was the reason why he did not make a move in the heavenly evil sect's villa or the heavenly evil region. Otherwise, there would be countless casualties. Qin Yun deliberately came to the uninhabited forest area to see the strength of the heavenly evil sect leader. A very strange evil power suddenly burst out and attacked Qin Yun. Sensing the evil power, Qin Yun almost laughed out loud in his heart. This heavenly evil sect leader is actually the evil god he is familiar with. He is the trash at the bottom. Qin Yun finally knows why Star God and Xian Rujing look down on this trash at the bottom. It's just that the great god's cultivation is really not much. Evil god, I trust you have been well since we last met. Qin Yun dodged the evil god's black lightning and said with mischievous smile, "We finally meet. Ah, you are." The evil god has a very black face. He looks like a middle-aged man, but his hair is completely white. The tall and skinny evil god wore black armor, making him look much more ferocious. He held a large saber that gave off an evil aura. He looked at Qin Yun with face filled with shock and said with trembling voice, Little ancestor." Qin Yun said with smile, "We finally meet, let's have a good chat." While speaking, he took out the floating cloud pagoda and placed it in the forest below. Evil god is somewhat reserved. His heart is filled with apprehension as he followed Qin Yun into the floating cloud pagoda. After entering, he said in low voice, "Little ancestor, is this the nine-sun heaven-raising pagoda?" "Indeed, do you recognize this pagoda?" Qin Yun said with smile. "I don't recognize it, but I have heard of it." Evil God exclaimed in admiration. When Divine Desolate was controlled by Love God and Heavenly Law Divine Domain, Evil God never contacted Qin Yun again. Later, he found out that Qin Yun took away the Sun Altar. In Myriad Realms' Divine Court, he also found out that Qin Yun was the Nine-Sun Palace King, the former King of Gods, and has a Divine King Heavenly Seal. Evil God also knows that Qin Yun has the Nine-Sun Divine Spirit, but he never mentioned it. The Nine-Sun Palace King is a character from the beginning of the Nine-Sun Heavenly Domain, someone who caused the Heavenly Law Divine Domain to suffer great losses. "Sit," Qin Yun said with smile. Evil God is still in a half-stupefied state because in the last 100 years, the matter regarding Qin Yun has gradually disappeared. Very few people talked about this influential figure, even the Heavenly Law Divine Domain didn't mention it again. The evil god had secretly inquired about it and only heard that Qin Yun had been punished by the heavens and was unable to come to the god-level space. This was what the Heavenly Law Divine Domain said. Now that the evil god saw Qin Yun, he knew that those rumors were nonsense. "Little ancestor, what did you do in the Heavenly Evil God cult?" The evil god smiled bitterly. "Did you just come to the god wasteland?" The moment Qin Yun came to the god wasteland, he caused trouble in his place, causing the evil god to be very depressed. "There's nothing I can do. Those guys forced me to do it. I've already restrained myself." Qin Yun shook his head and smiled, then explained what had happened. After hearing it, the evil god said angrily, "That brat Su Liguang, that father and son pair have been using my name to act tyrannically all day long. When I return, I will definitely kill them." "Evil God, do you rarely take care of the matters of the Heavenly Evil God cult?" Qin Yun asked. Sigh, isn't it all because of that damned thunder god? He forced me to help him find that whatever ghost god space thunder dragon pearl. When the evil god mentioned this matter, his face was filled with anger. I don't even have time to take care of the heavenly evil god cult, so I left it to those protectors and elders. Qin Yun said with a smile, If you find any clues to the dragon pearl, what reward will Thunder God give you? The evil god immediately gritted his teeth and said, What the hell did he give me? This bastard is very strong. He forced me to sell my life for him and forced me to sign a soul contract to help him find the dragon pearl. He said that as long as I perform meritorious deeds, my servant level will be raised a little. Servant level? Qin Yun said with a frown, Is this thunder god that arrogant in the myriad realms divine court? I am currently a third-rank servant of the thunder god. If I make a contribution, I can become a second-rank servant. The evil god clenched his fists and said angrily, If I don't go find the dragon pearl, I will be devoured by the soul contract. I only have 1 day of rest every month. Qin Yun said with a gloomy expression, This thunder god, sooner or later, I will make him pay the price. Little ancestor, that thunder god is very powerful. You don't need to fight him for me. The evil god waved his hand. In any case, I have already accepted my fate. Qin Yun said, On one hand, you want to complete the task given by the Myriad Realms Divine Court, and on the other hand, you want to help the Thunder God? Does the Myriad Realms Divine Court know about this? The evil god shook his head and said, The Myriad Realms Divine Court doesn't care about this. Who told me to not have any backing? Besides, the Thunder God has a very high position in the Myriad Realms Divine Court. No one will offend the Thunder God for a lowly trash like me. Originally, this job was not bad for me. Who knew that there would be a Thunder Dragon Pearl hidden in this area? The Thunder God found me and stepped on my face to force me to sign a soul contract. I can help you remove the soul contract, but you have to help me find the Dragon Pearl. Qin Yun said with a smile. The evil god is startled and said in disbelief, Can you really do it? Qin Yun helped the Imperial Sound Heavenly Mother remove the soul contract, and the evil god also helped him remove it. Therefore, he is very confident. Of course I can. When I entered the Heavenly Evil region, I signed a contract that I can't fight inside the Heavenly Evil region. Qin Yun said with a smile. Your Excellency Divine King, I am willing to be loyal to you. The evil god immediately said with excitement. Soon after, Qin Yun took out the soul creation heavenly cauldron and used soul refining technique to refine the soul contract of the evil god's soul. After refining, the evil god became extremely excited. He shouted something like Palace King is mighty and Divine King is unparalleled, and so on. Your Excellency, I will do my best to help you find the Dragon Pearl, but please don't go find the Thunder God. This guy is very strong and he is very close to the primal chaos race. The evil god said. The Thunder God used to be my disciple. He betrayed me and that's why I fell. Qin Yun said coldly. That bastard wants to usurp my Divine King position. With his little ability, he is not worthy of the Divine King Heavenly Seal. The evil god said in amazement. He is your Excellency's disciple? And betrayed you? That bastard truly deserves to die. I want to return to the Heavenly Evil God sect and cultivate wholeheartedly. I will also use the medicine garden to plant some medicinal ingredients to concoct pills. Qin Yun said. Alright, we will go back now. I'll kill those bastards. The evil god said with gloomy and cold expression. Those bastards actually did so many dirty things behind my back. I will not let them off. Qin Yun asked. Evil god, can you contact the Myriad Realms Divine Court? The evil god nodded. I can, but every time I contact them, the content will be monitored. Do you have any news about the space god? He is my good friend. Qin Yun asked. Chapter 2107. Evil God has always been looking forward to Qin Yun coming to God desolate. When he heard that Qin Yun couldn't come to the upper realms due to heavenly punishment, he felt sad for a while. In his mind, Qin Yun is a very good boss, very worthy of following. Especially now that he was forced by Thunder God to sign a soul contract, he hated the people of Myriad Realms' divine court to the bone. Evil God prostrated himself in admiration towards Qin Yun. Soul contract is very difficult to remove, especially for a powerful god like Thunder God. It is even more difficult to remove a soul contract. Qin Yun very easily helped Evil God remove the soul contract. Just this point alone made Evil God want to kneel down. Evil God, have you made any progress in searching for the Divine Universe Thunder Dragon Pearl? Qin Yun asked. A little progress. I found traces of Thunder Dragon. That place is very dangerous. I don't dare to go alone. Speaking up to here, Evil God vigorously patted his head and said, I will send this news back to Thunder God. That bastard said he will send people to help me. Thunder God won't come himself? Qin Yun asked. Thunder God's position in Myriad Realms' divine court is very high. He rarely participates in this kind of thing. Moreover, he doesn't want to have too much contact with a trash like me. Evil God groaned. This bastard has many opponents in Myriad Realms' divine court. I think he won't be able to leave. Qin Yun got up and walked back and forth a few steps, then said, Did Thunder God say who he will send? How strong are they? He said he will send Rain God. Evil God said, This is the news I sent back 2 or 3 months ago. Rain God is about to arrive. Rain God? Is it an old man? The Rain God Qin Yun knew back then was an old man. Not an old man, a young man. That old man passed on his divine position. I think it was most likely Thunder God who forced him to pass on his position. Evil God said, Rain God's divine position is pretty good. Qin Yun doesn't know how strong Rain God is, but he still hopes to get rid of Thunder God's subordinate. Let's wait for Rain God to arrive first. Qin Yun said. In short, he is Thunder God's subordinate. We can't let him go back. Thunder God's capable subordinates should be eliminated one by one. The Evil God nodded and said, Your Excellency, let's return to the Heavenly Evil Villa now. Initially, the sect master had been managing the Heavenly Evil Spirit sect with all his heart. But in the end, the Thunder God came looking for him, and he had no choice but to abandon the Heavenly Evil Spirit sect to search for the Dragon Pearl. Not long after, Qin Yun and the Evil God returned to the Heavenly Evil Villa and arrived at the sect palace. The main hall of the Divinity Palace was paved with black stone bricks, and there were several huge round glowing stones hanging from the ceiling. The Evil God sat at the top of the hall. When First Elder Wei and the others learned that the cult master had returned and summoned them to the cult palace, they immediately rushed over excitedly. Protector Su was dejected as he carried the other half of Su Liguang's body to the cult palace. Wei Jie was with her father and she didn't even look at Su Liguang. Su Liguang was crippled, and it could be said that he had lost his status. From now on, he was a useless person. She could not be with Su Liguang again. When Su Liguang came into contact with Wei Jie's cold gaze, his heart was filled with anger. He wished that he could kill Wei Jie, but not to mention killing her, it was impossible for him to even touch her. Sect Master, did you personally kill that fellow with the surname Qin? Grand Elder Wei hurriedly bowed and asked. Let's not talk about this first, tell me the whole story. Evil God said coldly, Don't tell me that you guys bullied people too much and caused such a thing to happen? Feeling the cold and slightly angry tone of the Evil God, the group of old profound gods' heart trembled. Only now did they remember that the sect master of the Heavenly Evil Spirit sect came here to guide the evil devils to turn over a new leaf. And what they did to Qin Yun could be said to be extremely evil. It was definitely not something that a righteous person would do. Sect Master, this matter was caused by that guy. He was the one who took liberties with little Jia first. First Elder Wei promptly stood up and replied. Evil God glanced at Wei Jia, his face filled with disdain and ridicule. Evil God knows that Qin Yun's relationship with the Star God and the Snow Goddess is extremely good. How could he have taken a fancy to trash like Wei Jia? Really? Evil God stared at Wei Jia and Great Elder Wei and asked in a deep voice. Absolutely. Great Elder Wei's heart trembled as he promptly replied in a loud voice. How about this, you guys sign a soul contract with me first, then we can talk about this matter. I want to make sure that what you said is the truth. Evil God sneered a few times. Hearing Evil God's words, the expressions of the dozens of old profound goddess present, as well as Great Elder Wei and the others, greatly changed. They never thought that this sect master would actually take this kind of matter so seriously. Sect master. That guy is just someone who has mastered some secret techniques and knows how to grow medicinal herbs. Great Elder Wei said somewhat anxiously. The main reason we are dealing with him is to obtain his secret technique and then hand it over to you, sect master. Evil God said coldly. Do you know who that person is? Great Protector Su and the others looked at each other in dismay because they had investigated and found out that Qin Yun had no background at all. At most, he had only come into contact with Qin Huayu and Long Lankai before. However, they all felt that after Qin Huayu and Long Lankai left, they would no longer care about the matters here. Who is he? Great Protector Su saw that Evil God's expression was not right and felt even more terrified in his heart. Evil God sat on a very large chair. Qin Yun suddenly walked out from behind the chair and looked down at the group of people below and said, I didn't want to provoke you guys, and I am also very serious about growing medicinal herbs for the Heavenly Evil God sect. However, you guys have repeatedly tried to make a move against me. After Qin Yun came out, Evil God immediately stood up and gave up his seat. He said in a low voice, Lord, please sit. Lord. The sect master of the Heavenly Evil God sect called Little Qin as Lord. The group of people below all had an expression as if they had seen a ghost. They thought that Qin Yun had already been killed by their sect master. They never expected that nothing would happen to him and he would even become their sect master's lord. Lord is a very respectful way of addressing someone. Wei Jia's delicate body swayed. She didn't dare to believe that this man who had always been quiet in the medicinal garden was actually so mysterious and powerful that a divine-ranked god would call him Lord. Su Liguang was completely dumbfounded. Everyone present looked at Qin Yun, who was sitting on the sect master's seat, in a daze. They suddenly understood why a fellow at the true God realm could beat up a genius at the profound God realm. Because this person was their sect master's boss. Lord, how do you want to deal with them? Evil God asked. Just as Evil God finished asking, Wei Jia immediately knelt down and cried, Young Master Qin, please spare my life. I had no choice. I was forced to cooperate with them to harm you. Please spare my life. I am willing to do anything for you. I am willing to be your slave. She felt that with her beauty, nothing would happen to her. However, she was too confident in herself. Qin Yun said indifferently to Evil God, Do as you wish. Great Protector Su, Great Elder Wei and the others suddenly sensed Evil God's dreadful killing intent. They were immediately scared out of their wit. Sect Master, please spare my life. Great Protector Su promptly knelt down and begged for mercy with a trembling voice. Evil God wielded a large saber, turned into a black shadow, and ran back and forth among the crowd, crazily waving the saber in his hand. Miserable screams resounded unceasingly in the main hall, blood splattered everywhere. In just a short moment, those dozens of old profound God and some youngsters were all killed by Evil God. Even Su Liguang, who only has half a body, was killed by Evil God. They all saw Lord take action, so we absolutely can't let them live to prevent them from leaking out. Evil God said. There is also Li Xuanda. he should still be in the heavenly evil villa. Qin Yun nodded and said, I have already sent people to invite him over. He is from the Li family, but don't worry, when the time comes, I will just say that he went out to play and then his whereabouts are unknown. Evil God chuckled and said, That guy's status is not high. Even if he dies, no one will take it seriously. Not long after, Li Xuanda arrived. The corpses in the main hall have already been cleaned up by Evil God. After Li Xuanda arrived and saw Evil God, he promptly saluted respectfully. Sect Master is indeed Sect Master. As soon as you took action, you killed that madman, Li Xuanda said with smile. Li Xuanda, who are you calling a madman? Qin Yun suddenly appeared behind Li Xuanda with smile on his face. He is holding a small fiery red pistol in his hand. It is transformed from the 9 heavens dragon lion cannon. When Li Xuanda heard Qin Yun's voice, his expression abruptly changed. After he turned around, he saw Qin Yun standing there and pointing something at him. Xiao! A bullet let out a sharp whistling sound. After it was shot out, it pierced through Li Xuanda's abdomen and shattered the divine power life crystal inside his body. Li Xuanda secretly joined hands with Great Elder Wei and Wei Jie to steal his secret technique. Moreover, after obtaining the secret technique, he wanted to kill Qin Yun. Therefore, Qin Yun will not let Li Xuanda off. You! Li Xuanda's heart trembled. He never thought that Qin Yun would actually know that sect master. The evil god suddenly appeared behind Li Xuanda and slapped down with his palm, directly killing Li Xuanda. He said, This guy is from the Myriad Realms Divine Court after all. I'm worried that he has something sinister in his hands. Just now, Qin Yun had also tested his small pistol. It could penetrate the defenseless body of the profound god. Sir, you should return to the medicine garden and pretend that nothing happened. When the rain god comes, I'll go find you, the evil god said. Qin Yun's current strength was not strong enough, so he did not rashly search for the Thunder Dragon Pearl. He wanted to go back and raise his cultivation as soon as possible so that he could become a profound god as soon as possible. Once he became a profound god, his strength would not be too weak. Even if he faced those great gods, he would still have the power to protect himself. Qin Yun returned to the medicine garden and continued planting the Xian Yi divine grass. Chapter 2108. Qin Yun returned to the medicine garden and placed the Xian Wing divine grass seedlings. He collected back into the medicine garden and continued to plant them. Because those medicinal seedlings have received a lot of stimulation, their current state is not very good. In the next few days, Qin Yun very carefully took care of them. During this period, he also used the pill transformation Heavenly Furnace to refine another Xian Wing Divine Pill. The Xian Wing Divine Pill he refined before was refined with 10,000 grass seed, and now, he used 50,000 grass seeds to refine a slightly larger Xian Wing Divine Pill. Even though he had cultivated a profound God Tao idol, he felt that there was still room for improvement in that profound God Tao idol. That's why he wants to refine an even larger Xian Wing Divine Pill. Qin Yun is not only cultivating the second divine profound Tao image, he is also strengthening the first one. The divine profound Tao image cultivated by the deity realm must have a solid foundation. When many deities cultivate the divine profound Tao image, they hurriedly cultivate the 3 divine profound Tao images and then impatiently open the Xian divine veins. This is not right. After opening the Xian divine veins, one can become a Xian god. However, if the divine profound Tao image is not strong enough, the Xian divine veins opened will also be very weak. I want to cultivate the divine profound Tao image to the limit and then open my meridians. This way, when I become a Xian god, my divine power will definitely be much stronger than those of the same level. Qin Yun has cultivated before, so his life's divine cultivation is even more stable. Xiao Yun, can you open the seventh pearl of the 9 Sun Divine Spirit? Ling Yun'er asked. Not yet, Qin Yun said. This seventh pearl is very difficult to open. The power required is neither divine power nor mental power. I will have to ask Sister Kiru about the specifics. Qin Yun did not dare to forcefully open the seventh pearl because the seal inside is very powerful. It was created by Mog using the power of the Heavenly Law pawnshop back then. If he forcefully opened the seventh pearl, it would cause the space inside to collapse and the things inside would be gone. Qin Yun ate the Xian Wing Divine Pill and quietly refined it inside the floating cloud pagoda. Meeting the evil god in the 8 Evil Mountain Range and mastering the Xian Wing Divine Grass allowed Qin Yun to cultivate here in peace for a period of time. In the blink of an eye, Qin Yun cultivated for 10 days. He is somewhat depressed because cultivating the second divine profound Tao image is much more difficult than before. How strange! Normally speaking, with the Xian Wing Divine Grass, I can break through even faster. Qin Yun's second divine Xian Dao idol is precisely that small divine hammer. In 10 days' time, he had completely refined that profound wings divine pill. One had to know that the profound wings divine pellet this time was several times more powerful than the one before, but he did not manage to cultivate a mysterious god Tao image. Qin Yun closed his eyes and checked the condition of his body. Nether Sun. Qin Yun suddenly thought of something and concentrated all of his mental power into the Nether Sun. Inside the Nether Sun, there were many golden threads swimming around. Inside each thread, there were even more threads converging together. Those were heavenly Tao divine inscriptions. Qin Yun previously devoured a few Heavenly Mother's energy. That kind of heavenly Tao power entered the heavenly Tao divine rune. The 9 heavenly veins that fused with his 9 yang divine veins are absorbing the power of the heavenly Tao at all times and entering the heavenly Tao divine rune. Ling Yun'er asked, Xiaoyun, did you find anything? Have you found the reason? I found it, it's really inconceivable, Qin Yun said. When I cultivate the mysterious God Tao image now, I am not cultivating a single mysterious God Tao image. What do you mean? Ling Yun'er asked. I have several mysterious God Tao images. They can be regarded as a whole, but they can also be said to be not. This is a very strange state, Qin Yun said with smile. Apart from Little Heavenly Lion, Little Divine Hammer and Little Heavenly Dragon, you have other mysterious God Tao images? Ling Yun'er is very shocked. I should be able to cultivate 5 mysterious God Tao images. The 4th should be Nether Sun, the 5th should be formed by the Heavenly Tao Divine Rune. Qin Yun laughed and said, When I ate the second Xian Wing Divine Pill, more than half of the energy was absorbed by the Nether Sun and the Heavenly Tao Divine Rune. After finding out the problem, Qin Yun is very happy. This means that he will obtain even stronger power. Both 9 Yang Palace King and King of Gods have less potential than him in this life. I need more Xian Wing Divine Pills. Qin Yun still has a lot of grass seeds in his hands. He wants to select some and refine them into seeds to plant. Medicine God knows how to turn grass seeds into seeds through a secret method. Qin Yun has the help of Heavenly Eye. After observing those grass seeds, he also knows how to turn grass seeds into seed. In fact, it is necessary to inject a certain amount of energy into the grass seeds and cultivate tooth germs inside the grass seed. This is not difficult for Qin Yun at all. Very quickly, he produced several tens of thousands of seed. This medicine garden is very big and it is not full yet. Qin Yun promptly sowed those tens of thousands of seeds in the field. After tossing and turning for several days, Qin Yun finally made the seeds germinate. Only then did he feel at ease to refine pills. Qin Yun finished refining the pill and just ate it. He did not even have time to refine it when Evil God arrived. Evil God entered the medicine garden and waited outside the floating cloud pagoda. Qin Yun controlled the floating cloud pagoda and teleported Evil God to the 20th floor. After Evil God came in, he looked somewhat flustered and said, "Boss, Rain God is here." I asked Rain God's followers and learned that there is a very strong God coming together with Rain God. A very strong God? Qin Yun said with frown. What kind of God is that? I still don't know. That follower also doesn't know that Rain God did not enter the heavenly evil region, instead he released a palace outside. That guy is a lot stronger than me, plus he is Thunder God's favorite. He looks down on me. Evil God said. Is the God together with Rain God also outside the heavenly evil region? Qin Yun asked. I am not too sure, in short, that God did not show himself. I am worried that this guy is very strong and will kill us all. Evil God said anxiously. Then we will talk after we understand the situation of the other God. You go see Rain God first and understand the situation. Qin Yun is actually very calm and said, Yes. Evil God promptly left. Qin Yun thought for a bit, then took out some formation pillars and strengthened the medicine garden's barrier. Just as he finished setting up the formation, one of his soul-chasing talismans reacted. Qin Yun promptly took out the soul-chasing talisman and said in amazement, It is Sister Rujing's soul-chasing talisman, is she nearby? According to the soul-chasing talisman's reaction, Xian Rujing is still some distance away from him, she is not nearby. Within a certain range, soul fluctuation can be sensed by the soul-chasing talisman. Nighttime. Qin Yun released a beast skin formation at the top of the floating cloud pagoda to contact Little Phoenix. Little Phoenix is now in the southeast direction of the heavenly evil region. Why would she appear there? Qin Yun asked. Southeast direction? Roughly how far? Little Phoenix asked. Qin Yun gave a few approximate distances. Little Phoenix said, Probably out of the 8 Evil Mountain Range, probably at Medicine King City. After a period of time, Medicine King City will become very lively. Medicine King City? Qin Yun said in pleasant surprise. After I become profound God, I will go to Medicine King City. Why is it so lively there? Because it is a Pill Grand Assembly, hosted by Medicine King Qin. Little Phoenix said with smile. There will be many people participating at that time, maybe I will also go. This time, I planted very beautiful flowers, I will participate in the Flower King contest. There is such a thing. Then why is Sister Rujing going there? Qin Yun asked. Brother Xiao Yun, Sister Rujing might want to take a look and see if there is any good divine medicine to brew wine. She is very fond of drinking wine now. Little Phoenix said with smile. Little Phoenix, I will contact you if I need anything. Qin Yun said. Alright, see you Brother Xiao Yun. Little Phoenix said sweetly. Qin Yun looked at the soul-chasing talisman in his hand, and said in low voice, If Sister Rujing knows I am here, I wonder if she will come over or not. Xian Rujing also has a soul-chasing talisman, if she senses Qin Yun is here, she might come over. Nighttime, Evil God arrived. This time he did not smoothly enter the medicine garden because Qin Yun strengthened the barrier to prevent Rain God from rushing in. Qin Yun let Evil God in. Evil God arrived at the top of the floating cloud pagoda and said, Boss, don't worry, Rain God will not come here. He said that this is a lowly place, he won't come here. That's good. Qin Yun said with laugh. I inquired about the god beside him, it is Snake God. That guy is very awesome, he is a very strong poisonous snake. Evil God said. Snake God? Qin Yun said with smile. If it is truly Snake God, then I am not too worried. Yang Yang is a divine bird, she loves to chase down those small snakes and such. Boss, Rain God is preparing to leave for that dangerous place to search for clues about the Dragon Balls. He wants me to accompany him. Evil God said, he doesn't want to go at all. Take me with you. Qin Yun said. This Boss, your cultivation is so low, I am afraid you will have an accident. Evil God is truly worried about Qin Yun. It doesn't matter, I will break through on the way. I remember you said that place is very far, right? Qin Yun said. Evil God nodded. Rain God said that he will leave in 3 months. Will we have enough time? Enough. Qin Yun nodded and said. 3 months is enough for him to plant Xian Wing divine grasses. Moreover, by that time, he might have already cultivated his third divine Xian Dao idol. Rain God is also a great god. He is a bit stronger than Evil God. This is mainly because Rain God follows Thunder God, so he has very good equipment. After Evil God left, Qin Yun immediately began cultivating. If everything goes smoothly, after obtaining the Dragon Balls, I will go to Qin Yao King City and meet Sister Rujing. Qin Yun also wants to see this female wine god. Xiao Yuelan said that because Xian Rujing has not seen Qin Yun for many years, she has been drowning her sorrows in wine. Because of this, she has produced many good wines and gained the nickname of Wine God. I wonder if Big Sister Rujing will come in 3 months' time? If she only cares about drinking and doesn't pay attention to the spirit-chasing talisman, then maybe she won't come. Qin Yun stored away the spirit-chasing talisman. While refining the Xian Wing divine pill, he is also comprehending 9 Sun World extermination scripture. Chapter 2109. The seeds of the Xian Wing divine grass he planted earlier are enough for Qin Yun to use for a period of time. Originally, he estimated that the seeds of the Profound Wings divine grass would be enough for him to break through to the late True God realm and cultivate 3 Profound God Dao statues. Later he discovered that each of his divine Profound Dao images requires a lot of energy to be condensed. Especially the hidden divine Profound Dao images, like Nether Sun and Heavenly Dao divine runes, they can transform into divine Profound Dao images. This means that he will need to consume even more Xian Wing divine grass. Luckily he has enough Xian Wing divine grass. The Xian Wing divine grass planted in the medicine garden can also grow very quickly. I wonder if Sister Rujing will come or not. Qin Yun only hopes that when Xian Rujing comes, she can smoothly meet him. Inside the Heavenly Evil Spirit sect, Evil God takes care of the medicine garden, so other people don't dare to approach. Although the herb garden was in the Heavenly Evil sect, it still belonged to the Alchemy God. That's because the barrier and array were provided by the Alchemy God. Over the past few days, Qin Yun had also discovered that the soil in the herb garden had been specially nourished by the underground array formation. The formation can absorb the divine spring's water and guide it into the soil. Then it cooperates with the formation's special power to transform the soil, allowing the medicinal plants to grow even better. Therefore, even if Rain God knows that the Heavenly Evil Spirit sect's medicine garden can grow many Xian Wing divine grasses, he does not dare to act recklessly here. Offending the medicine god inside the Myriad Realms divine court will result in grave consequences. Medicine god and pill god are brothers, their strength is deep and unfathomable. Moreover, their connections are very wide and they are highly respected in the Myriad Realms divine court. Many powerful gods would go to these 2 brothers when they needed special pills. In the blink of an eye, 1 month passed by. Qin Yun has finally cultivated the second divine Profound Dao image. It is the small divine hammer transformed from the Heavenly Dao flame. After the small divine hammer transformed into the divine Profound Dao image, if it is attached to the 9 Sun divine hammer, its might will become even stronger. Qin Yun tried summoning the Nether Realm Heavenly Lion inside the medicine garden. Then he let the small Heavenly Lion attach itself to the Nether Realm Heavenly Lion's body. In most cases, he only needed to fuse the Heavenly Lion Dao image into his body. Now I will start cultivating that little dragon. Once all 3 Dao images are cultivated, the divine power released together will surely be even stronger. After Qin Yun cultivated the second divine profound Tao image, the might of his divine power increased by several times. In front of him, if an ordinary profound god did not have good equipment to defend themselves, they would not be able to withstand a few moves and would be killed. Yang Yang, the ninth heaven sparrow, wasn't idle either. She often cultivated in the herb garden. The herb garden's array could gather the power of the divine sons of the myriad worlds. Yang Yang also liked to absorb the divine power released by the myriad realms' divine sun very much, and the speed of absorption was very fast. In the blink of an eye, the black-winged divine grass in the medicine garden had matured. It was almost time for the rain god to set off to find the thunder dragon balls. After the mystic winged divine grass matured, Qin Yun took away a lot of them. He only left behind 2,000 mystic winged divine grass for the medicine god to send people to collect. Qin Yun has already obtained millions of grass seed. He won't need to plant them for a long time. In the past few days, other than cultivating, he also did many sneaky things. For example, he dug the soil from the depths of the medicine garden to obtain the 9-sun divine spirit. Or he quietly entered the divine spring and took away a few spring source stones from the mouth of the spring. The spring source stone is a very special kind of stone. It is hidden deep underground, but it can quickly absorb the power of the myriad realms' divine sun and then condense a lot of water. Qin Yun placed the spring source stone into the 9-sun divine spirit and used it to absorb the power of the myriad realms' divine Sunday. It can also make the spring source stone produce the water of the divine spring. The medicine god sent someone to retrieve the medicinal ingredient. The person who came is actually Qin Huayu. Qin Huayu is wearing a medicine master's pink robe. The robe is embroidered with some very beautiful flower pictures, making her even more tender and charming. Little Qin, I have to thank you for becoming the medicine god's disciple, Qin Huayu said with a chuckle. At the medicine god's place, I mainly learn how to grow flower-type medicinal ingredients. Big sister Qin, I still have other things to do. I can't continue to stay here and plant medicinal ingredients, Qin Yun said. And you helped that guy Li Xuanda plant so many medicinal ingredients. He really got off lightly. Qin Huayu is inside the medicine garden. She looked all around and said with frown, "Where is that bastard Li Xuanda? He is actually not here. Does he leave everything to you?" Qin Yun laughed and said, "He went out for 2 to 3 months. He never came back. Don't worry about him. I will help you collect the Xian Wing divine grasses." Qin Huayu came with a few old men, she said with a chuckle. "No need, leave the matter of collecting Xian Wing divine grasses to us." Qin Yun only left behind 2,000 Xian Wing divine grasses, but to the medicine god, this is a lot. Qin Huayu actually knows that many Xian Wing divine grasses have been stolen by Qin Yun. She doesn't blame Qin Yun for being greedy, on the contrary, she is very happy in her heart. "Big sister Qin, I heard that your Medicine King city is holding some kind of grand meeting. It is very lively." Qin Yun asked because it is very likely that Xian Rujing is in Medicine King city. Qin Huayu promptly said with smile, "Indeed, Medicine King Assembly is held every once in a while. Sometimes it is held every few years, sometimes it is held every 10 years. It mainly depends on the situation. When the time comes, a large number of people with rare and exotic flowers and rare herbs will gather. Although the grand meeting has not started yet, our Medicine King city is already very lively. It is said that many gods with god position will be participating. As for when it will start, it is not confirmed yet." Qin Yun actually wants to go and see what kind of good divine medicine he can collect. "Shao Qin, when are you going to Medicine King city?" "I will be returning home after a period of time to participate in the Medicine King Assembly," Qin Huayu said. "I am still not sure. I will go as soon as possible," Qin Yun said with smile. "If big sister Qin is also in the city at that time, please take good care of little brother." Qin Huayu narrowed her eyes and said with smile, "Of course, remember to come." After collecting the Xian Wing divine grass, Qin Huayu did not immediately return. She wants to wait for Li Xuanda to return and then bring him back. Only Qin Yun and Evil God know that Li Xuanda has been killed. They can only say that Li Xuanda has left the heavenly evil region. Li Xuanda is a small member of Myriad Realms' divine court. He was sent in by Li family. Now that he is in the heavenly evil region, he has the freedom to come and go as he pleases. So it is not strange that he wants to leave on his own. In order to avoid suspicion, he disguised himself as Li Xuanda and ran out of the heavenly evil region. Moreover, he pretended to be very arrogant so that people will have a deeper impression of him. Big Sister Qin, have you ever heard of Nangong Shuiru in Myriad Realms' divine court? Qin Yun asked. Ah, Sister Shuiru? Of course I have heard of her, she is my goddess. Qin Huayu very excitedly said. She is now in Medicine God Manor. She is helping Master Medicine God deal with a very difficult problem. Even Master Medicine God admires her ability. Nangong Shuiru is indeed very proficient in growing medicinal plants. Moreover, she has obtained Mother Moon's inheritance. So after she becomes God, her ability in this aspect will surely increase greatly. Furthermore, she has the Sun-Moon Divine Bowl given to her by Qin Yun. It can condense the power of Sun and Moon. It can allow medicinal plants to grow very quickly. Moreover, they will grow very well. Divine Moon World's Guang Han Palace's women are all very awesome. I really want to enter Guang Han Palace, but I don't have any connections. Qin Huayu's expression is filled with yearning as she looked at the sky. Properly work hard. Once you have sufficient foundation and formidable strength, you will be able to grasp the opportunity and enter Guang Han Palace. Qin Yun said with smile. Qin Huayu nodded and said with smile. Shao Qin, your rune planting method is very awesome, it gave me many ideas. Even Medicine God Master repeatedly praised it. Qin Huayu doesn't know that her Medicine God Master became Medicine God because he received help from Qin Yun, the God King. Therefore, they are good friends. But now, Qin Yun can't be sure if Medicine God is trustworthy or not. After all, Myriad Realms' divine court has Love God and Thunder God. Their methods are very despicable. It is very likely that they will use despicable methods to force Medicine God and Pill God to pledge loyalty to them. For example, Evil God was trampled on by Thunder God and forced to sign a soul contract. Qin Huayu waited for less than half a day but did not see Li Xuanda return. She had no choice but to return to Myriad Realms' divine court. Qin Yun returned to Floating Cloud Pagoda and said in low voice, "We will set off in 4 days. At that time, I should be able to cultivate the 4th divine Xian Dao image." Qin Yun has already cultivated the 3rd divine Xian Dao image, divine Dragon Dao image. After he cultivated 3 normal Dao images, he sensed that Nether Sun needs to be cultivated to divine Xian Dao image. This means that he will need to consume even more Xian Wing divine grass. As for what will happen after he cultivates it, Qin Yun is not sure. 4 days later, Qin Yun put away Floating Cloud Pagoda and left the medicine garden. He put on simple and unadorned gray clothes and followed behind Evil God. Outside the heavenly evil district, there is a very large palace. That palace is the residence of Rain God and Snake God. Evil God wants to lead them to the place where divine cosmic thunder dragon once appeared. It is very likely that the dragon pearl is hidden there. Rain God and Snake God are not weak, they are both stronger than Evil God. Therefore, Evil God can only act like a grandson in front of them. Rain God and Snake God did not bring any subordinates with them because they feel that the 2 of them are enough. While on the road, Rain God and Snake God both have their own flying magic tool. It is a small flying boat. Evil God also has a flying boat, but it seems to be very inferior. Qin Yun and Evil God are now squeezed into the flying boat, flying at the very front. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.